What's going on, teamers? Welcome to DigiPod, the digital podcast. I'm your boy Varney. Today in the studio, as always, you know him nice and well. We got Mike currently to my right and Dan currently to my bottom. What's up, y'all?
Casual Dan.
What's going on?
Casual
There's
Dan
respect out here.
Casual Mike.
Out here now. Casual Dan, casual Mike. What a world we live in.
Hey, at least you both are casual.
That's a temporary. That's gonna be temporary.
Soon he's about to be try-hard Dan. That's what he's about to be.
Oh my god. There would just be no like adjectives in front of my name. How about that?
He'll just go back to being Dan.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
You would like that, wouldn't you, buddy?
Yeah.
He's gonna show up one day and he's gonna have watched an episode of SpongeBob. He's gonna be like, "I'm Dirty Dan."
Absolutely not.
I'm Dirty Dan. No, you could be Pinhead Larry.
Definitely not SpongeBob. That's for sure.
Yo, did you know like they have I don't know why. I don't know if this is like new because I haven't kept up with SpongeBob, but my daughters were watching it. They have some sort of like new like CGI like animation of SpongeBob. I don't know if it's like permanent, but it's with Sandy. And I'm like, why is this the new thing? It looks so weird. Like,
no,
what happened to
you asked on the wrong person because I didn't even watch. I barely watched SpongeBob as a kid myself. So like now I'm definitely not watching.
Oh no, Dan, you missed the best part of your childhood.
Absolutely
Definitely
not. My best childhood was Cartoon Network. Fuck Nickelodeon.
I agree with that. I did watch a lot of SpongeBob, but Cartoon Network was the superior.
I was forced to watch SpongeBob during the year my cousin lived with me because he was such a Nickelodeon fan in comparison. And so like I would dread watching. I was just like, this is why are we enjoying this? Why are you enjoying this? I was the only shows I cared about from Nickelodeon was Rocket Power. And kind of Hey Arnold, I think.
Hey Arnold.
And then like there's later stuff like Avatar and stuff. But like besides that,
Avatar is a classic, you know.
Yeah, but besides that, like I'm talking about like the regular cartoon ones stuff.
SpongeBob was just good old mindless fun. Dirty Dan and Pinhead Larry. Good old times. All right. Anyways, topics for today. Let's see. What are we talking about? We're talking about locals because there was a locals. We're talking about some poll results that I have been missing. I apologize for that. And then we're going to be talking about if the Digimon card game is becoming like Yu-Gi-Oh. It's our three big things today. So let's jump right in. Locals pre-release was this previous weekend, August 4th for us. Well, for Dan and I, not for Mike. That's casual Mike over there.
Yes,
so
I absolutely.
You don't even playing regular locals currently.
I wish there was one near me.
He's in the process of making it happen.
He is in the process. What? Shout out the shop, Mike.
Gamer Oasis
in
Winchester, Virginia.
Winchester, Virginia. If you're wanting to play some Digimon and you're in the Winchester, Virginia area, you should hop on down to Gamer Oasis, where you can let all your worries blow away to the wind.
I don't know about that last part, but yeah, y'all should hit me up if you're local so you can play some games.
Yeah, what was that?
That was our ad for Gamer Oasis.
Are we getting sponsored by them? Like, Jesus Christ.
Probably not. No. But
Mike is totally going to get us a sponsorship by Gamer Oasis.
I do like the enthusiasm.
Oh, I got the next one. So we had pre-release at the Gamer's Edge.
Perpendicular? Is that what we're having?
The Gamer's Edge.
That's edgy, bro. I don't know. That's a little.
Because I'm on the edge of glory.
That was terrible.
It gets worse.
Oh my lord!
Every time. Sometimes. It's impressive, really.
Oh my goodness! All right, yeah, Gamer's Edge.
If you
pre-release
guys
East
didn't know,
Stroudsburg.
Giovanni is a dad with dad joke, clearly.
Yes.
Woo! If a yearwood can't fix shit, no one can.
That's a pretty, that's a shirt. All right. Yeah.
You know what I was gotten the shirt for? Father's Day. Woo!
Explains so many things.
What is life?
So yes, the Gamer's Edge, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. If y'all are in the area, please feel free to stop by. We play Digimon on Sundays at 5 p.m. That being said, this last weekend, we decided that we were going to do a constructed pre-release, which was different for us because we've always done sealed pre-release, but our lovely shop manager, Dan, hit us up and was like, hey, I only got 2 cases in, not because of allocations, just because that's how much he had ordered, because 6 months ago, he cut the orders for
real?
reasons not relating. Yeah, reasons not relating to us. It was higher up things. So it had to do with the owner. So he had to cut orders, but he's ramped them back up. But the problem is, if you guys didn't know, shops are required to place their orders 6 months in advance. So, you know, if you're kicking off a scene, like now is as good a time as any because your shop may not get product for 6 months is really what that boils down to.
Yep.
We only got 2 cases and he said, hey, like we can do a constructed pre-release so that you guys can buy more product instead of, you know, me giving up pre-release pricing. And I personally have never been a fan of sealed pre-release. I've hated it with the passion of 1,000 suns. So the moment he said that, I said, hell yeah, let's go for it. Most other people were down for it mainly because they also wanted product. So yeah, we ran a constructed pre-release. I thought we were going to get packs as part of the entry. We did,
Same.
but it wasn't, we didn't get them before. So I was like, damn, because I was going to play some jank potentially if I had gotten those packs before, but it is what it is. I don't mind either way. I ended up coming in second. I played Magna and I lost to Ragnalord. And the more I play Magna, the more I'm just like, man, what a fair card. Like, it's so funny. All right, it's not entirely fair. Like, yes,
I don't know if I'd call
it's not entirely fair, but it is beatable. And I think it's funny because it raises such hubbub in the community. They're like, oh my goodness, Magna X. And I'm just like, yeah, it's just Magna X. Like, it's just a blocker. It's just a big, you know, potentially 16k blocker that probably swings twice a turn. Sometimes it can swing for 4 checks, like, because those are cards that are around.
If you think about it, Magna X is just better Craniumon.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Why did you say that? You're making me hate
no wonder why he loves
Craniumon.
Magna. It's just Craniumon and
Yeah, no, you're right. Now you're making me hate Craniumon though, and I'm like, damn, that's the card I've always wanted to play. Craniumon, a blocker. He was originally can't be deleted by your opponent's card effects, and then it was unaffected by your opponent's Digimon effects. I think is the second iteration of it.
Yeah,
but then it cost a whole ass 5 to Digivolve, and it was 13k. And all it did was block.
He said,
"Oh, at the end of the turn,
Digivolve, and all it did was block, and it was a 13k." Let me remind you, Magna X costs 4 to Digivolve, and
actually, no, it does cost 5 over Magnamon.
Yeah.
4 on top of its like whatever sources it can Digivolve. That's a level 5.
Yeah. 4 regularly.
Yes.
Only 12k. Is Craniumon better than Magna X?
Yeah, I think so too. 13 versus 12. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think 13 beats 12.
It makes sense to me. I think Craniumon might be a better card.
Hey, don't mess around. I might throw some. Well, not to lie. We don't have anything good that's black except Cyberdramon Ace, which we're never getting. We're still 4 months away from the Cyberdramon Ace.
RIP though, for real.
Then I could maybe cope and play some Craniumon, but no, not at all. Especially not until we get Craniumon X at this point. But yeah, no, Gino. So if y'all don't know Gino, I mean, you should. He's DGU Gino. He is the voice of DigiKnow and the Digi Spotlight. So Gino's a very good player, and he was playing Ragna, and yeah, I didn't have the work. I mean, I bricked game 1. I'm not saying that as like, oh, like that's why I lost. It didn't help. By the time I found the rookie, he was already set up, and I was like, I don't think I can like come back, because the entire game plan of what Ragna does is like bounce whatever. They have this like library, right? And they're just like, which effect would I like to proc again? Do I want to pop a body? Do I want to search? Do I want to rearrange the top of my deck? Do I want to like digivolve? Do I want to taunt? Like they literally have, it's such a toolbox. It's a cool deck. I love it. They have so many effects that they can choose from. It's literally like once they get set up, if you can't deal with the stack, GG. And with Magna, you don't deal with the stack, because dealing with anything in Magna typically requires you to have Magna on board. Is why I run, DG Dimension and Ultimate Flare. But those cards don't really help if you don't see them. DG Dimension ain't doing shit. Let's just get that out of here. Ultimate Flare would have been nice, but 8 memory, I deal with 1, and then he's just gonna build up another one. Like tough times. So I didn't have the works game 1. Game 2, we had a little bit of back and forth, but again, the taunts into Aragna is pretty tough. So I didn't have the works for that. And yeah, Gino won. What else did I play against? I played against Blue Flare. That was against the boy Darian. And Darian realized very quickly that also Magna X is not this, unbeatable monstrosity. He definitely had
this
some.
Is his first time playing against Magna X probably ever, and plus the first time he's played in probably a month or two.
Quite a couple weeks, yeah. He definitely.
I think it was like a month, maybe like I said, a month or two ago. He borrowed Gino's decks, but like it's not like he's been playing consistently.
So that's where the choke is from.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darian's a great player as well. He's slow sometimes, I want to reach across the table and just like slap him a couple times. But, he's definitely a good player. He got 1 game, and then there was the second game that he almost got. I was saved by him not having jamming, which was good for me. Bad for him is really what it boiled down to. Because Blue Flare, I mean, he wasn't even playing. All right, let me paint the picture for you. He's playing Blue Flare, but he's not playing like the Blue Flare you think he's playing. He's not playing the Vikemon Ace. He's not playing Ukomons. He's just playing whatever Blue Flare deck he built however many months ago. He has an Azulong, but I when I saw the Azulong, I was like, fuck, he's not even playing an updated Blue Flare deck. So I was like, all right, so first of all, I don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah.
But then I was like, damn, like it's still tough, right? Because let me tell you guys something. Just because Magna says it's unaffected by your opponent's effects doesn't mean it cannot be targeted. When Metal Gray comes down, if it has more source, or in another situation, if they have the Greymon inheritable, because what Darian was doing was digivolving into Decker. So because first of all, he was running Decker, but he would digivolve into it because it had Armor Purge. So he would swing and then target the Magna X, can't attack, can't block. I block, obviously, but I Armor Purge. And then next turn, I can't swing because, yeah, sure, I may not be affected this turn, but once my total immunity wears off, I am now affected by can't attack, can't block. So what am I going to do? And then, what had happened the time he did that was then he dropped the EX4? I think EX4 Metal Gray, and he stripped my source. He didn't realize the impact of stripping my source.
Yeah, because then you can't activate your the effect.
Yeah,
again,
I can't
right?
activate. I can activate the unsuspend, but I can't activate the immunity.
Right.
But he didn't realize that, so he just thought that like he was stripping me down and trying to stun me for next turn. And I was like, no. You stripped away my armor form. And he was like, oh, and that's how he won game 1 or 2, whichever it was, because that was when he realized that. So, I mean, that's Blue Flare. I mean, Blue Flare is always a pain in the ass, annoying deck. But like, we saw Blue Flare win a TBL. What was it, Dan? Maybe like a month ago at this point, a month and a half ago. And that was piloted by Shady Water. And that was a much more, optimal Blue Flare build with Ukomons and the Vikemon, which are very good cards and you should be running them in Blue Flare. But at the same time, it's like, that's a deck that was capable of doing something against blue-based Magna. Yeah, I don't know how it would fare against Vaccine. Might be a little bit of a tougher matchup just because, you know, it's Vaccine. If they see their pieces, good luck. They have their own library of ways of proccing protection for Magna X. And also recovery, which is probably the biggest thing against Blue Flare. That's how I save myself against him. I run, at least in BT16, I ran 1 Magna Ace and 2 Anji Woman Ace. So I dropped the Magna Ace when I was at 0 security to recover 1 when I had a Magna X on board. So I knew that I'd get a double block in next turn. And then I dropped an Anji Woman Ace on top of it so that I effectively had 2 security. So he needed 3 swings per game. So, you know, it's not an unbeatable deck. And the people who are running the Blinding Rays and the Final Zubagon Punches and all that special cute shit, what they're running there is they're running bricks in their hand. It works when it works. You know, if they have the Magna X out, cool, they might be winning. But at the same time, if they're not seeing Magna X, those cards aren't even doing anything when you're at a Magnamon, right? And if you're running, you know, Zubagon and Blinding at 2 each, 3 each, that means that deck probably isn't running as much removal. That means that deck probably has no gas. They probably got no aces. Like, they're with the 50 card limit. I know I advocate for 60 card decks, but 50 card limit means cuts are made somewhere. And so if they're putting in that bullshit, that means they're making cuts somewhere. And you just got to take advantage of it. I mean, every build's going to be different, but you got to, during your match, you got to like watch what they're playing, see what they're doing, and know how you're going to navigate. Realize that, yeah, you might lose game 1, but you can come back. It's a best of 3. So I like best of 3s because it's a skill matchup. It's not just, damn, I bricked, or damn, I got high rolled, call it a day. Sometimes you can come back in that game 2. If you come back in the game 2, there you go. You got a 3rd game. Rant over. Dan, how was pre-release for you?
I didn't play.
Wow. I think that he's lying to us, Varney. What do you think?
I played, I was in between 2 decks. I should have chose the other one because for some reason I was feeling it. But then I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. So I played Fish Swarm. My overall record was 1-2. If I played a good Mirage player, I would have been 0-3. With that being said, it's because he never saw a Mirage. That's why I say if it was a good Mirage player, he would have saw the Mirage and it would have been GG.
I was about to say, damn, shots fired. Pop, 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 pop.
No, I was legit just he didn't see a Mirage. I feel like anytime I first, maybe it's just because it's Gino's fault.
It's definitely because it's Gino.
Anytime I play against let's play against Gino. Anytime I'm playing against a Mirage deck, I expect them to have every single thing for them, everything in security, everything at all times. So when I was playing against him, he wasn't like doing normal Mirage things. I was just like, oh, okay, I can take advantage of this. But that was round 3. We'll get to it eventually. Round 1, I played against Gino. Playing against Ragna. If I would have played, because the other deck I was debating on is Sean Greymon. I really like what Sean Greymon feels again with the at the moment pre BT17 with the new searcher and stuff. I was liking how the deck was feeling again, and so I was debating on playing that. If I would have played that, I think I would have beat him because he had a point where he was slow with it. I could just neg him to death because he's not immune to DP neg. I mean, depending on the situations of which immunities he has going on, obviously. I think I could have done well with Sean against it, but I don't know. That's, you know, neither here nor there at this moment. But Fish Swarm, I was like, damn, I can't do anything because I can't bounce his Digimon after a while because it's like the immunities of was a Bright Lugia that gives it immunity of like can't be removed except yourself.
I think it's Raiji Ludo.
Whatever the low level 6 5 is. No, the low 6.
Bry says it can't be affected by Digimon effects. I'm almost sure.
So there's like because he runs two of the different ones. One says isn't affected by Digimon effects, and then there's one that says
So
can't be removed unless it's by yourself or deletion, something like that.
Okay, so EX6 is the one. It's it can't leave the battle area other than by your effects or deletion.
Correct.
That's kind of cracked, actually.
Yeah. So then you have the level 5 protection. Then you're like, oh, you just can't leave, which is dumb as all hell.
That's kind of cracked.
Yeah. So he had that So game 1, he ended up having that Ragnar on board for like a hot minute. So the reason why that game 1 took way longer is because I kept using the Betamon effect to stun him. So I'll keep purposely like playing Betamon out because I was trying to get to a point, and I was like, oh, you're affected by Digimon effects, right? Cool. I know my out. My out is Zudamon that I could never fucking draw in the deck, because I just go, all right, I'll just strip the 2 protection sources. So I'll strip Ryluja, strip the I think it's the random that gives the other type of something that was important. And I'm like, all right, then I could just go like Great Maelstrom or Zangpang or something just to get rid of it, and then overflow 5, right? And then I just pop off, continue going on, right? So I was like, all right, I just need to get there. I'm gonna hold him off. I'm gonna keep stunning that one stack, and if he brings up another stack, I'm gonna just keep doing something to get rid of it. So that was legit the game plan for a split second. And I kept trying to draw into the Zudo, never got into it. By the time I got to the Zudo, it was way too late. I ended up losing game 1. Game 2, I beat him. He didn't see something. He didn't have the protection off the rip, so he had a level 6 on board with no protection. So I was able to get rid of it immediately. And then I ended up doing a pretty cool combo that I realized I misplayed on with Zangpang. I could have actually had the OTK that same turn. So I almost threw that game because I didn't realize the effect. So it's a cool thing if you have like Zangpang and then 2 Huang Kuns, you can go not like an infinite loop, but like you can do like a shit ton of damage, like 4 damage in one turn with that effect, with that combo. So you go, let's say you have one out already, you swing with it, because this is what my combo was. I swung with the 1 Huang Kun. I already had Zangpang out. Swung with that has jamming, cool, lives. Swing with Zangpang, effect of the Zangpang, not the effect of Zangpang, effect of the Huang Kun underneath it. You suck up the other Huang Kun. God, that sounded weird. You absorb the other Huang Kun.
You do what?
Absorb is better.
You suck up what?
Absorb. You absorb the other Huang Kun. Effect of the Zangpang. Pop out like something else, and then you unsuspend. So you do it again, and then you just keep going until you just go for the game, basically, which is pretty cool. So I misplayed on that at the timing. I wanted to do that second part of Zangpang's effect. Still got the game though, which is good. And then game 3, I didn't see the correct outs for wherever he had, and he just like blitzed me with the Ragnar stuff. Then round 2, I played against Crossheart, against someone who barely plays the deck.
Not hunters.
No, Crossheart, like legitimately Crossheart.
Legit Crossheart? Who was playing Crossheart? Was it the new guy? Oh, okay.
Gino let him borrow Crossheart. And Gino's Crossheart version, of course, it'll be only Gino's Crossheart version. He ran Final Crossblade, and I'm just like, who runs this? Who the runs this dumbass card? Like, that legit won this kid the game, because so like game 1, I'm like, he's like, because you know Crossheart just is low to the ground, bum rushing. He bum rushing me, cool, blah blah blah. I get to the point where like I deal with his board, and then like I go Zangpang, and like I'm like taking what's it called, security out. And then he goes Final Crossblade from hand. I was just like, all right, cool. That actually ended up winning the game, I think it was too. That's the worst part about it, because I didn't have like enough tax like late that next turn to do things or whatever. So he wins that. Then I went game 2. I just blitzed him pretty much, and that was it. Game 3, my first stack comes out, and I swing with the first stack because I'm like, it's Crossheart. The only thing I'm going to hit is anything low DP, and if it's higher, I got jammed. I'm fine. First check. Final Crossblade deleted my stack. And I couldn't recover because I was missing pieces to make a new stack. And I was just like, you're fucking kidding me on the inside. And then I ended up losing round 2 because of that stupid ass card that like 99% of cross players don't even play.
My favorite is that we confirm with Gino today that Gino was only playing one of the Final Crossblade.
Yes. Yep. Only
Gino
one.
goes, yeah, I like to play bad cards for fun, but only at one. That was what Gino said, I think.
Yeah, something like that. I was just like, you gotta be kidding me, Gino. You gotta be. I almost hit it with when Varney got hit with the Emperor option card. Do you remember that? And you were like, who the fuck plays this trash ass card?
Fire Drake fucking strike.
Bro.
Now I was about to have that moment when you got hit with that. I was just like,
Final Crossblade is still a better card than whatever the fuck I got killed with in security. I was flabbergasted, bro. At least Final Crossblade like can win you games. The card I hit in security had like the most random chance of winning a game ever, and it somehow fucking did. I was blown away. Thank you for reminding me of that. I'm angry all over again. What the fuck, bro? That is crazy.
You're welcome. So then I ended up losing that one, and then I ended up beating the Mirage. Let me put it like this. This is how badly I shouldn't have won. I had 20 cards in hand. In like game 2 or 3, whatever it was. I was just like, why am I winning? Why am I still here? Why am I alive? You know? So I ended up winning. Didn't top, so I didn't get no prizing, no nothing. It was a very sad day for me.
So now we all have a card.
I don't even want to talk right now, bro. I'm actually upset all over again, I think. Bro. That's so crazy.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's funny.
You know what's crazy? I will never see that card ever again in anyone's deck for the rest of the time I play Digimon, I think.
Oh my god. It was like one of those moments where like, you know, when Varney got hit with what was it, a 13k 4-check flame on, whatever. Like it was like one of those stupid ass moments that I was just like, bro, there's just no way this is real life.
I literally said to Jarrell, I said, what the actual fuck is that card doing in your deck? Because I wasn't even upset that I hit an option and lost, because I was like, in my head when I made that play, I was like, if I hit an option, I lose, right? I was upset that what killed me was like, if it was anything else, I would not have cared. The fact that it was
Gaia Force, it would have been fine.
Yeah, I don't even care if it was literally legit vanilla 8-cost Gaia Force, I wouldn't have given a shit. But the fact that it was that card that was like so specific, it was like delete a Digimon with like 5,000 deep, whatever the fuck that card said. It was the stupidest thing ever. I was like, there's absolutely no way that this is what I lost.
Now we all have a card, so when we all go to our Digimon AA meeting, we can talk about what hurt us.
Our Digimon AA meeting, he says.
Digimon Card Game Players Anonymous.
Wow.
You know, some people like to talk about Numemon, and some people like to talk about Magna X. We just want to talk about, you know, Fire Drake Strike, Final Crossblade.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Away. That's all I gotta say.
Mind-boggling.
All right. So moving on, topics. Like I said, poll results. I've went over these in the last few pods because I just completely forgot about them. Spotify also changed the way. I probably should have mentioned this like way earlier, like 3 episodes ago or something. But, like Spotify changed the way that they do like interaction. So instead of like a Q&A, we now have comments. So it's literally exactly that. I don't know if they like upped the amount that like you can, you know, put text on a comment, but it's quite literally just called comments now. We don't have any like questions that we pose. So with that in mind, like if you guys are ever answering a poll question, I guess I'll just start excluding other. I'll just tell you to go say it in go say it in the comments, I guess. And the same applies for YouTube. I may not always post the poll question because I always damn well forget. I'm going to try to be more diligent about that. But one of our first poll questions I had asked, the one that was most farthest away, was what movie support are you most excited for? With the release of BT17 coming out of 14 votes, 6 people said they are excited for Diaboromon support. We got a lot of Diaboromon stands out there. I can tell you that after a couple rounds of playing Diaboromon, absolutely do not put BT17 Diaboromon in your deck. You will regret your life. Do not play 4 Doomsday Clock. You will regret your life. Don't do what I don't play either of those cards. Well, okay. If you want, you can play Clock, but I'm beginning to not see value in it. I would probably stay away from it. I would definitely stay away from BT17 Diaboro. You play 4 EX6, play your 3 Ace. Call it a day. If you want to get spicy, you play that old promo that swings for 10,000 checks if you have the tokens. That's it. Don't do anything else. Trust me, you heard it here first. Those cards aren't good.
Dude, I think we said that during the BT17.
How did you try Diaboromon already? For someone who don't even care about Diaboromon, I don't understand.
You go ahead and keep thinking I don't care about Diaboromon.
All right, sure.
He played Diaboromon at a national. Sorry.
It's literally the only reason the deck is still built.
Yeah,
you know, that deck sat in its sleeves from nationals up until this point. Like, I have literally never taken that deck apart. It is sat in the same exact sleeves that I used for Nats up until I just put the deck back together.
I was going to say, there's probably some cool cards in there. A little trip down memory lane, perhaps.
Yeah, I got all of my Caramon, the winter pack. I don't care for the winter pack ones. I got the ones with the actual backgrounds, but I got all of my Caramons. I had gotten all my Diaboro Aces. Now I need to get the new art Diaboro Aces, which I have two en route. But yeah, so Diaboro, don't do it. Trust me, been there, done that. Nobody said they were excited for Omnimon. Dan is the only person excited for Omnimon. So, you know, when Dan inevitably plays Omnimon, he's going to come on here and he's going to sing the praises of Omnimon Ace.
And also, for some reason, Cliff is really excited for Omnimon, one of our other friends.
Because he knows it's a good deck.
No, I think he just wants to get his jank fix. He knows Ancient is a good deck, so he's excited for that. I think he specifically said, "I'm building this jank Omnimon deck."
I'm a quote you, Cliff, on that. I'll be like, "Yo, Cliff, I heard you call Omnimon a jank deck." Somebody in DGU has words for you. Hint: it's not me. One person said they're excited for hybrid support, which is not surprising at all. I feel like hybrids are the most hated across all iterations of the Digiverse. Like, nobody cared for them in the card game, and nobody cared for Tamers as a series. There's like a very small amount of people who actually like Tamers.
You better watch out. We're gonna get mean comments.
I know,
now.
right?
You better be careful saying that.
I know, right? To be fair, like Tamers was like that weird spot because it was like right before Savers had aired. So like I probably saw like a little bit of it, and I knew about like humans that turned into Digimon, but I never watched it.
Oh,
I haven't watched it.
I did a search.
I still haven't watched it.
The direct quote from Cliff: "Don't be shitting on my cope like that."
I'm pretty sure because he was doing some other weird shit with it.
No, that really is it's a good deck though. It's not bad. It's not dumb.
I personally do think it's a good deck. I think obviously it would have been a lot better with the bonds, but I think it's still a good deck in its current iteration, and I'm excited for BT17 for the sheer fact, new decks, new things to try to top and take down the slime king that is Digimon, and soon to be Ancient.
I would talk about it so often. I'm still so upset we don't get those damn bonds. I had so many good jank ideas in mind, bro. I wanted to play like some weird Hexaplow deck with fucking Gabubon as the top end. I was gonna play like Gabu Hexaplow. I had so many fucking things brewing, buddy, and now they're all gone, useless.
You don't know what I was excited for? So Sukuyamon's already a bad deck, but we got a Sukuyamon Ace, a Maid Mode Ace, and now I can't even play Maid Mode Ace, and I have to play literal jank trash Sukuyamon.
To be fair, it was gonna be jank trash even with the Maid Mode Ace.
But at least I would have had an Ace. It would have felt like a modern deck with an Ace card, you know?
It's so funny. I mentioned this in chat. I was like, bro, it's so crazy to know that like Sukuyamon has gotten like 4 lines of actual support and it's still dog water.
Yeah, you did say that. Same with Gallantmon, bro. Gallantmon, Sukurimon. It's kind of crazy,
man. They don't like Tamers. They don't like Tamers, sir. They didn't like they don't like Tamers season.
I saw somebody's tier list today.
There's only 2 decks that are good.
It's weird though. They love Beelzemon.
Yeah, it's Beelzemon and D-Reapers were the only 2 good decks from it.
I saw somebody's tier list today. They have Gallantmon in A tier. So somebody knows something that we don't. Because I could never. I mean, I honestly could never. I just don't see it.
Who's tier list?
I wish I could remember. I'll have to look for it on Twitter because it was on Twitter.
Look, it's playable.
No, yeah, I never said it wasn't. Just
like, that's all I got. That was my comment.
This is why,
it's
for those of you who've never watched one of our tier lists, this is why we don't do, S tier, A tier, B tier, because I don't think Gallantmon is an A tier deck. If I had to label that, I'd call that like B
a Z
at best,
tier,
if not C tier.
And my personal
Z, like all the way at like the bottom of the alphabet. You know what I'm saying? No.
And in my personal opinion, I think that the best way to describe Gallantmon overall, and we've said it all the time, is that it's just a mid deck, right? It's just mid. Everything it does is mid. And that doesn't mean that the deck is necessarily bad. It's just too fair. And I think that if you really like Gallantmon, and you like love that Digimon so much, and you're good at the card game, you could probably will that deck to a regional top, and people have done it. But yeah, it's not good. But people will do it, and people will play what they love, even if it's not good.
Look, there's only one person I trust with Gallantmon. His name is Vinny.
Yes, his name is Vinny.
I agree.
The protagonist, the Takato IRL. That's Vinny, straight up.
Yeah.
Speaking of Gallantmon, it got 4 votes on the movie support that people are excited for. Which is not a surprise because people love that deck. I too love the deck. Yeah. Otherwise, I would not hold this red flash bomb of a card.
That card looks fucking awful, dude.
It's cool to look at.
Bad. Do you know what it looks like?
It's cool to look at. It just playability.
Hear me out. Do you know what that card looks like, bro? If you like Christmas morning, right? You come downstairs. There's a red bow on your Christmas present that's super shiny. That's exactly what that card looks like. Actually, great. You know,
a valid point.
Here we go. It's a red bow, and then you open the present, and it's like the most mid Christmas present you've ever seen. That's what that card represents. I think. That's the perfect analogy.
Oh my god.
Listen,
you're like,
I love my Gallantmon.
It's like you open up socks. You're like, I didn't need new socks, but I need new socks. I didn't want socks.
As an adult, I now appreciate more socks.
Yeah, everyone, like, you get socks, you get underwear. You're like, this is actually like solid, but like, I wish it was something else. Yeah, that's what that card represents.
Listen, until they print a Gallantmon that says, I don't know. I don't even know I don't even know how you would make Gallantmon like actually like, tier 1. Because everything it does looks like it should be tier 1.
Well, no,
I got it. You take all the Gallantmon support that's current and you rip it up, throw in the trash, and just start brand new. Everything that I did previously, don't even like recognize it and just to start over.
You know what? That's a fair point. I would love to see some sort of weird like because Gallantmon's presumably never not going to be red. It's probably always going to be red
or purple, red/purple,
or red purple. Yeah. But to your point, Mike, big ass fucking shield, and he doesn't block. I would love to see some sort of I would love to see some sort of like red. Maybe it'd have to be red black, to fall with color identity, but I would love to see Gallantmon do something that actually does center around like him blocking, but him also being like super offensive. So it makes him like a nice, like all rounded. I assume that they made him pop things in a way to like show that like he's being offensive, but also like somewhat defensive. It just doesn't translate well into the card game.
I think the issue with Gallantmon as a whole,
he needs a way to counterattack, because every video game he counterattacks.
Not even that, and well, yeah, that'd be cool too. But I think the main issue of Gallantmon as a whole is that the color it resides in is red, and red is Greymon's color in this card game. And they're like, how do we make this deck good without it being like a direct carbon copy of War Greymon? Yeah. And they can't find a way to do it, especially now that War Greymon is not necessarily a good deck either. So they're just like, I don't know what the fuck to do with this archetype. What I think they should do is stop being pussies and just lean into it being like a straight up mill your opponent deck. How fucking cool would that be if it was like literally like
every time like you take a secure, I don't know, what would you do? Like every time like you attack an opponent's Digimon or delete an opponent's Digimon, like you mill like 2 or something?
I don't know, but it already mills so much on Digivolve. Like it does all these things already. Like I think they just need to lean into that more.
Yeah, I got it. Give it raid just like BT12 when you switch an attack. You know, you mill to
your opponent, yeah.
When you delete a Digimon, mill to, like every time like some sort of attack connects, you just mill. I would like that. I'd play that.
Yeah, like it needs to be more. I think it needs to just be more unique, and it's like so close because it does really cool stuff. I think for the color, like, well, I mean, there's not really.
It does a lot.
Well,
to be
honest, like half the problem with Gallantmon is. And it's similar to Greymon, where like half of it does one thing and the other half does something else.
Yeah.
In a sense, it's in a sense because you have your Digimon lines, and then the Digimon that does completely different things that still coincides with the Gal and Guilmon stuff, and then you have the Guilmon and Gallimon stuff that does something else. So it's like the way they work in tandem is a little weird. It's not like cohesive fully. And I think that's why like the Digimon Ace was so needed, because it does kind of make it cohesive.
I was just about to say that because all it does is pop something, and like realistically it's just like a 12k beat stick at that point, that like when it dies then it just like feeds Gallantmon's deletion effects.
I mean, think of how cool and unique cards like Chaos Gallantmon are too, where like in your trash you get to activate this end of turn effect to delete one of your own like Digimon that has Gallant in its name, and then you get to play it back. Like that's cool. Like, and they like get so close to making the deck like unique in its own right and also strong, and then they like just make it too fair, and then it just falls off, right? But I don't know. It's also tough because think of like when Gallant came out. Imagine if Gallant came out like pre EX1, right? BT. Let's say Gallant was out BT5, BT6 even, and things didn't have protection.
I mean, technically it did, right? Because we had the original Gallantmon.
Yeah, the that card
BT31 or whatever.
Also just okay. But I'm saying like take like the EX2 support, right? And put it into like a little bit earlier. Not super crazy. I'm not saying play at BT1. But like a set or two before, when things really didn't have as much protection. Like that's not actually a bad archetype, you know?
Yeah.
But how it exists where it has to delete things and then you get like these... I'm sorry, but half the effects are just useless, I feel like, and then as Gino actually said in our chat today, and I don't know if you saw it, Barney, he said, I hate that they keep making War Growlmon the good card, because you have to keep swapping out your good card for another good card. The rest of the line is just weak, in my opinion.
That's a whole fact.
Gallimon's X line is probably the worst X line in the whole game, so it's just like,
It's that's like it's so funny because you think about it and it's not even a bad line, but when you compare it to the other X lines, it's just too fair. Like
Guilmon on Digivolve, pop a 3k or less.
That's it.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Algo X and Gabu X searches, Goma X searches.
Yeah.
I don't know what other X orders there are.
The fact that you were able to say Goma X is better than Gil X is a problem, because Goma X has some issues with it as well. Like, crazy to think that.
I mean, and again, like, I get to add, like, Groundmon X, I get to add 1,000 to my maximum DP I can delete.
Ooh.
That is so fucking mid, bro.
Yeah.
Like, so mid. I mean, and I understand it's not the premier deck, like, that was, you know, that color, that identity, right? Like at that time in BT9, Agumon and Greymon, like X, like that was the line that was supposed to be like the premier set. But I don't like when very clearly they like give these cards, because it's not like Gallimon had an SR, that set. War Greymon X had an SR, that set. They both had a full line of support, and it's like, damn, we know very well which cards are better. Or even we talked about this where Agumon and Metal like and Gabumon decks, right? Why the fuck are the blue decks always better? Like Metal Greymon as a whole, or even Gabumon or Ancient Garurumon, any of these decks, bro, they are always better than the red counterpart. Like, it's crazy.
I think it's an actual like a fallacy in their like design philosophy, because I've like we've spoken about it, but when you put the new Ancient Gruru and Ancient Grey next to each other, on paper they do the same thing. Ancient Grey is doing 2 checks, Ancient Garuru is doing 2 checks. The problem is one is clearly a better way to do 2 checks than the other. Like Ancient Garuru should have been like on Digivolve, bounce lowest, and if it bounced, bounce security to hand. Or it should have been like on your, I don't know. There should have been like a much more contingent way to make it bounce a security. First of all, I don't even think that should be a thing. Bouncing security to hand.
I just don't understand what they. It doesn't make sense to me. Like when you look at Ancient Garurumon and you look at Ancient Greymon, why does Ancient Garurumon have a your turn once per turn effect and Ancient Greymon does not?
It does. It has sec +1. That's my point.
Well, yeah,
that's its sec +1. It's clear that in this instance that your turn effect is way better than just having sec +1.
Yeah, but like what I mean by that is like. I don't know. I guess I see what you say. Like the security +1 takes place of the bouncing of the security.
Right.
But like,
that's
God,
the thing.
I just fucking hate that so much.
Exactly.
Or,
it's like,
or even Gabumons back in the day. Like Gabumons.
Yeah, though, what was it? Delete something to trash a security?
Yeah,
right?
which was fucking so bad in that meta because people were actually playing Cranium on.
Yeah. This guy over
both
there,
of them,
Varney.
And other people. Like, what the fuck was that about, bro? That made me so mad.
Yeah. Because like both of them can do technically 3 checks, but the way you go about doing 3 checks was so much. So like on paper, they're equal, but when you, but in practicality is when you realize how much better like the blue versions are. Because it's like, obviously bouncing security is so much stronger than sec attack +1 because you're never going to proc whatever that effect is. You're not going to die to it. You're always going to do, you know, you're gonna be safe behind it because you like bounce back to your hand, cool. You lose the security, and I'm gonna swing for the next one. Ancient Grey is gonna do 2 checks, but he's got a chance he's gonna die to the first one, you know.
I got another good one for you. I mean, well, let's just talk about the Bond real quick. Bond on the BT6 Gabu, you're gonna swing once unsuspend for Gabu, swing again unsuspend for Bond, and then swing again. So 3 checks.
Yes.
With Agubond, you're gonna swing
at the same time.
Oh yeah, and you're bottom decking 3.
5. Yeah. No, low 5 or lower.
Agubond is attempting to delete 1. If it deletes, it's going to trash 1 security, and then Agu lets it connect on 2 checks. So it does the 3 that Dan is talking about. Let's look at BT9. War Grey was capable of obliterating a security stack in 1 go. But so was Melga. But what's the difference? War Grey would have to do, you know, 1 check across or 1 swing across 5 checks.
To be fair, the difference was Melga had that cracked ass promo.
Right. So War Grey, you got that 1 swing to take out like 4 to 5 checks, whereas Melga had a swing unsuspend with battle protection, swing unsuspend, digivolve, swing 2 checks if you have 8 or more, unsuspend from Melga when you digivolve into that, swing 2 more checks, and then Omni for game. They're both doing the same amount of damage. It's just that one is doing it all in 1 go, and the other one is doing it
I think
combo oriented.
Even with the bonds, the main difference for me with the bonds was that Bond of Friendship never had to bottom deck anything to unsuspend.
Yes, correct. That too.
Agubond had to delete something to get rid of the security, right? So bonds, and just inherently, as long as you had a tamer in play, you got 3 attacks. That was how that card worked, which was, I don't understand why it didn't need to act like it. I don't know. That's just me being mad, I guess. I don't know what to say. I guess it's just me being mad. But like, I never understood, like, why did Bond of Bravery have to delete something to trash the top security? It should have just trashed the top security on Digivolve or something. That would have been better.
Yes, on Digivolve, I agree.
Like what the fuck? Yeah, I don't know. That was insane to me. I always hated it. It always made me angry.
Yeah, it's just a, like I said, I feel like it's a clear deficiency in their design philosophy. Like, they're thinking that when they design these cards, these things are equal, but they don't fucking playtest it. So they don't realize that it's not the fucking same. It's so aggravating.
Yeah, I don't.
And then they like, so then they also like pigeonhole every deck to the color. So it's like, oh, it's red. You have to always have second attack +1. And it always have to be usually one swing that does everything at once. You know what I'm saying? Or like delete something. And then you got blue that's like, I'll just keep unsuspending with jamming.
Yep. And the other thing that people don't realize about how good it is that you don't need to attack security when you can unsuspend and keep attacking. You can clear the fucking board. I don't like.
Whereas your sec +1 is doing what? If you don't connect on, if you don't have piercing, what's your sec +1 doing?
Yeah. Well, that's why BT12 War Gray was so awesome.
That's why I was about to mention that myself.
You could control the board and still do piercing and still attack. Like that's why it was so good for Greymon. Exactly. And that's why it was so good. And yeah, I don't know. I know that they're afraid to give red decks like unsuspend multiple times, bullshit, blah, blah, blah. And they should be. It's just
but
like
they fucking give these blue decks so much unsuspends. It's like, bro, stop.
Tell me.
Let it unsuspend once per turn. That's it. But like, why the hell does it have to unsuspend like 4 times?
It's so crazy though. And not that like I think that like Hexablow is like a really super good deck, but I think it's like playable like enough. You know, and that deck gets security +1 inherently and can unsuspend inherently, like with no issues. Like, and again, not that I think that that's like a super strong, crazy deck, but they print those cards in blue regardless. They do not print cards like that for red, or if they do, they're just not good cards. I mean, look at back to Gallimon X Antibody unsuspends itself. That card is pretty good. It's pretty okay.
I hope deck is trashed. We're doing full circle. Gallimon X.
But like,
talking about Gallimon again.
Boom, we're right back where we need to be.
Back to being super mid because you need a super specific condition for you to be able to unsuspend.
Crazy. They hate us, Dan. They hate us.
I know. They do.
There's a big design flaws, but you know, it is what it is. We love this game regardless, right? That's why one person here said that they were most excited for Imperial support. The 2 cards that you get that are, the 3 cards that you get that are Imperial support: Paladin mode, the movie option, and the new Davis and Ken Tamer.
Which you shouldn't play. It's a bad card. It's a trap.
Yeah, it's trash.
Yeah.
It's literally irrelevant. I don't even know why they put it.
Not a good card. Takes a spot up for
it's a memory tamer. It's a memory tamer. It costs 5, but it's a memory tamer.
Trust me. I used to play Mastodon. I know what it's like to play a tamer for 5. It feels fucking awful.
Yo, we want to talk about Mastodon.
I know what it feels like to play for 5 for free, Marcus.
Hey, at least you got value from that.
Super value in comparison to others.
See, that card, I never feel bad about playing for 5. I'm like, ah, shit, this feels good.
All right. So another soapbox here. Let's go. All right. Dan, remember when we saw that 4-cost Mirai and we were like, why is this a secret? Like, it's not a bad card. It's a good card. Just why is it a secret?
Yeah, I remember talking about that in chat, and I was like, that card is a super rare at best.
Yep.
It is so infuriating that you play a 5-cost Tamer and Mirai that has such a restrictive condition for allowing you to do what your deck does, and Imperial has a 4-cost Tamer that plays them a Digimon, gains them a memory, and trashes 3 Digi-Evolution swords.
All right, look, I don't want to bring too much, I think you're making too much sense right now. And look, I'm not here to be biased, but let's move on to a different topic, I think, at this point.
And R4 Mastermon's 4-cost tamer. What does it do for us? It's a memory setter. No, it's not a memory setter. Oh, what does it do? Okay, so here's what it does. When I play a Digimon, I gain a memory.
Can we just talk about how insane it is?
It's pretty spicy there.
That deck actually doesn't have a memory setter tamer yet. And it has both a 5-cost option and a 4-cost option.
We have a 5-cost, just gain a memory, and a 4-cost, gain a memory when you play a Digimon. That's nice. That's okay. And then you can Digivolve from your trash, not from your hand or trash, only from your trash. So you have to have some setup. But you can Digivolve from trash. Okay. And then at the end of the turn, you can force DNA. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's a good card. I think it's actually even stronger.
I think so, yeah.
Than Davis and Ken, some would say, probably. Not me. I mean, like, I think some people would say that, yeah. So
I will agree too.
Yeah, I think people would say it's super strong.
For that deck to work, you would like to see both your 4 and 5-cost Mirai on the field at the same exact time.
Is there any way to play it for free?
How are you getting those card tamers on the field?
Oh, well, let me tell you. All right, so I was going to Digivolve into this Lady Devimon, right? And I was going to play out this Mirai from my hand when I read the text like a card game player would. And I was like, oh, she only plays out the Mirai from trash. Well, how am I going to get this Mirai in trash? It's like turn 2. Like, how do I do that? I don't know. Well, I would have to see the Anjouwomon. The Anjouwomon lets me play it out from hand. That's pretty cool. But you know what's even better? If I already have a Mirai in play, the Lady Devi, she's popping like a level 4, and the Anjouwomon, she's giving like sec -1 or some shit.
That's pretty cool. That sounds pretty
but we need both Mirais on board for our deck to work.
That Lady Devimon has Scapegoat, so that's
Scapegoats?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's probably even better than playing a tamer for free, I would think.
I wish I could ever get into a Mastermon. I wish I could ever establish a Mastermon on board. would be nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. That deck fucking sucks. So I genuinely feel bad for people that like Mastermon, because I also fell into that hole, and I also had like a $700 deck that was garbage. So like I get it. Sell the deck. It's not good. You shouldn't spend money on it. You shouldn't wait.
I was like,
you will
wow.
be happier. I sold Mastermon and I got happier. I got promoted at my job. I started dating a wonderful human being who I love very much. I moved to a different state. Imperial got new support. Like, just sell the deck. Your life will improve.
Because selling Mastermon did all that. Yeah.
When I tell you, I hopped on Facebook. With the swiftness.
The biggest problem with Mastermon, I believe, is that because to blast Ace, you need to have a 5 on board, and it's so easy to clear a 5 in today's game.
Oh, yeah.
Either to clear a 5 or clear a 6K.
I think if you sneeze the wrong way, you clear level 5 in that game.
I think the best way for like, what's it called? Blast DNA decks outside War Greymon, outside of Omnimon, because you could do his own thing besides that. So I'm talking about like Ragna and Mastermon specifically. You need to wait to taunt your opponent and make your opponent force an attack to blast DNA. Because if you don't, they're just gonna be like, all right, I'll just sit here and watch you do nothing because you're not gonna do anything with that. And when I'm ready, I'm just gonna blow it up. Call it a day. Do you have an out? Do you have protection for that Lady Devi? Or any way to like float it back out? No. GG. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so weird. Like, you had to go into the original DNA first and then like set up afterwards. I feel like that's your main plays, because if you try to set up for a blast DNA off the rip, you're just setting yourself up for failure, it seems like, for that deck.
Do you know what the other main problem with that deck is? Is it literally just does nothing. Once you DNA, you sit there and you do nothing. You wait for your Mastermon to get destroyed.
No. It's better if you ever get to that point. You have Alliance. That actually matters.
That's fair.
We don't get to that point though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, one of those decks.
That's the problem.
And I think the issue with the deck is that, and the real secret issue with this deck is that out of all the things it does and about how good it is or how bad it is, it just costs too much money it costs too much money to justify how good it actually is, because
how bad it actually is.
Yes, I guess I meant the same thing. So if you have this much money to spend on Digimon deck and you're like, I really want to play and be good at this game, that is not the deck you should ever touch or think
Absolutely
of.
not.
That is a pet deck that you should keep in your book bag and like make fun changes to and like bring it to a locals. That's just not a deck.
You shouldn't even bring it to a locals, honestly.
I didn't have fun when I brought it to local. I took it out to play against Carlos and I was like, why am I doing this to myself? I'm seriously not having fun. Like, this deck aggravates the fuck out of me.
Yeah, that's one of those weird decks where I feel like it got stuck in a time period of Digimon where Bandai for some reason thinks that you have 15 turns to like do things in a game now. And that is a deck where like you very much need setup and you very much need your opponent to not care about what you're doing as well. And not in a Mirage OTK way, but in like your opponent bricked for 3 turns and you were able to do what you needed to do.
What they should have said was the Gatomon, it's cute, you search. Let me tell you the problem with that new Gatomon. 7 times out of 10, I am seeing Salamon Gatomon. I don't even get to take a fucking angel. But she doesn't play Mireille. Your 5s have to play Mireille. Why do your 5s have to play Mireille? And I think we're getting to the point in the game where like everything should just unrestricted play your name to tamers.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's a little bit of a hot take because maybe that could get out of hand depending on the deck. But like it's become so crucial to play tamers that we should have every deck that has its named tamer should be able to play its named tamer. You know what? I don't even want to play my tamer for free. At least let me reduce the cost. At least let me digivolve and I get to reduce the cost by like 2 or 3.
You know what else is a really big issue with that deck that I've always hated? It relies on not even you being good at the game and setting up properly, but you just somehow being lucky enough to make the right choices. So like if you so that Gatomon lets you trash a card from your hand, right? Like the new one. So like, let's say you trash the Mireille in hopes that you can get to the Lady Devi and play it back, right? Let's say you don't have the Mireille and your only line of play is to digivolve the Gatomon and hope that you draw into a level 5. Do you trash the Mireille or do you keep it in your hand and hope you get an Angelomon?
Actually, Mike, the Gatomon doesn't even trash. It's only adding.
Oh, I thought it trashed from hand.
No, you had me wondering if I was misplaying, but no, I just looked it up. It's reveal top 3, add 1 Angel, Archangel, Fallen Angel, and a Mireille.
My bad. I'm thinking of
bottom deck the rest.
I'm thinking of BT16, by the way.
Oh, that Gatomon? That honestly, like, it's not a bad card, but it's also just like irrelevant to like the game plan.
Oh yeah, I mean,
like I play it, I play it, but like to your point, it's like here's 2 searchers that my half of my deck needs setup for, but neither of my searchers are setting my trash up properly. The one card I am playing isn't the card that I'm normally going into. And then yes, do I hold the Mireille in my hand to see the Angelomon or do I trash it? Because if I make the wrong decision, I might be set back.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just
still the best level 4 is the starter deck Gatomon. You still got to play for 5 to get search,
which is so fucking insane, bro.
Because for some reason they didn't want to give it a on play when digivolving.
And it's not even like that card digivolves for 2 or something. Like, that is an expensive card.
You know why? This is because this was the first wave of multicolor support. So it's fair. I'll give them that. It's the first wave of multicolor support. But then you came out here, you printed us this new Gatomon that does the same thing. I remember the first wave of
multicolor support, also including Imperial, and that deck was fucking awesome. So
they got Protect Power Mike.
I was just saying. But like I don't know. I agree. I just like,
I don't know.
I'm flabbergasted. So sometimes point being, don't play that fucking deck. It's too expensive for what it is.
Absolutely not. I literally like last week I was like, oh my goodness, like I need to pick up my Mireille soon. I gotta go pick up this card. I gotta pick up that card. You wanna know how much fucking Mireilles are? Your base art Mireille 5 cost is $9. Your dumbass secret rare is $45. And because I have a problem, the alt art 5 cost is 42 and the alt is 63. And I was really about to pay those prices.
He said, because I have a problem. This guy. Yeah, but I agree. It's fucking insane. And
don't pay those prices.
It's like, yeah.
If you like it, sure. But even still, I don't know, bro. I'm so fed up. I was saying to Dan, I was like, it's a shame when, not a slight on Ragna, but I was like, it's a shame when Ragna's better than Mastamon.
You know,
and Ragna's had less consistent support.
I will give Digimon props though for making a waifu that's actually of age. So,
wow.
Like,
hey,
I'll give it where it's due, you know?
Digimon are ageless. They're just data, bro.
Anyways, moving on. That was a wild statement. We're gonna go to the next segment.
For the people who like Renamon, you know,
nope.
The people who like Renamon, they're like, you see that Renamon art, bro?
Nope.
There were some wild people out here on some forums. They were like, yo.
Yeah. No, there are. Yeah, we're moving right past that though. We're gonna actually talk about a different topic for the day now. I think we just boom, we gotta skip.
All right, let me just breeze through the other polls. I asked y'all, what attributes have you felt that lead to you feeling burnt out in card games? Out of 12 total votes, we've got a nice spread. We've got 3 people who said endlessly losing, 5 people said not having fun, 1 person said not finding success, which is different from endlessly losing. Like, there's a difference between like playing and not getting the results you want to just playing and getting your fucking head beaten. And then 3 people said other, to which we got no responses for. And then our last poll question, I said, what is your favorite Digimon movie? Out of 12 total votes, 2 people said Last Evolution Kizuna. 1 person said the original Digimon Adventure. That's the War Grey, or sorry, not War Grey. That's the Koromon, Agumon, Greymon movie. And then 9 people said our War Game.
Yes, and they're all correct. Every last one.
Those 9 people must be the six of the Diaboromon stands out there.
Yeah, they are all correct. Every last one is correct.
So yes, our main topic for the day is Digimon becoming like Yu-Gi-Oh! So we posed this question because we're entering an era of Digimon where things are different from what they used to be. You know, Digimon now is not like Digimon even a year ago. Cards are more expensive. Product is more expensive. Cards are better. Cards do more. And I've seen a lot of people on Facebook, on Reddit, and I've heard it, and they talk about it, and they compare Digimon to Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm just gonna preface it with, can we stop comparing Digimon to Yu-Gi-Oh? Like, comparing Digimon to Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like saying, like, do you think I can make my Honda Civic look like a Mercedes-Benz? Like, do you know how much modification you have to go through to make your Honda Civic look like a Mercedes-Benz? Like, do you know how fucked Digimon would have to get for this game to even become like Yu-Gi-Oh? Like, I get that you're trying to draw comparisons, but like, there's a lot that has to happen for that to even...
Yeah, I mean, I think before we even dive into the meat and potatoes, I'd like to preface things with, no, not yet. I think the memory gauge really allows Digimon to not ever reach the full-on Yu-Gi-Oh! Levels of, it is my first turn, I have established this absolutely unbreakable board. Your entire point going second is, if you can break my board, you win the game without even having to deal 8,000 damage to me because I only have 1 card in hand now. Like, it's just not the same game at all. Even actually, hilariously enough, Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are pissed the fuck off right now because pro players haven't been winning recent tournaments in the new format because the new format is so luck based. They're in a tier 0 format, but there's a card called Dimension Shifter which literally just destroys every single top deck right now, and pro players are mad because they're saying that the format is not skillful anymore because you can just lose immediately to like a shifter essentially, which is insane. So there's a lot of division in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, which I think is fucking also hilarious.
The one of the new Ghost Sisters was a Dogwood because of their stupid time rules. It's just the most dumbest card you can just play now.
Yeah, I
know what card I'm talking about, Mike?
Yes, I know exactly this card. It's Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I know.
So you're allowed. So that card allows you that Varney. If you don't know, you play it anytime it's on your main phase. If your opponent special summons, you gain life points to the attack of the monster. You gain life points equal to the attack of the monster.
If just when they special summon.
Yes, if your opponent does not special summon anything, you take half. So if you're going second, they go first, they go past, you just immediately go to 4K. You might end up losing because of that, because you know you're losing 4K. Or they just go try play through it and then hope to the best that they don't give them 20,000 plus life points and not be able to deal with it. So the problem
it gains for everything they special summon.
Yes,
correct.
And if you're not familiar with time in Yu-Gi-Oh, that is a very people play time, bro.
So the problem with that is that in Yu-Gi-Oh, when you go to time goes wherever that phase you're in is the last phase you got. I think you're allowed to have the battle phase and that's it. So whoever has the most life points at the end, you're done. So if you play that card, so like supposedly what I'm here understanding from what I've heard, because I was just listening to like Teen Samurai, because I think it was like his little podcast episode or whatever about people quitting and stuff. One of the big things was because of that card and time rules. So what they would do is like, all right, it's about to be a minute or two. Let's say if game 3 is about to start with like a minute or two left, they will side in all 3 and then go, all right, cool, go second. If they're forced to go second, immediately drop it. Is like, are you going to do anything? If you don't, you go to time and you try to do something. I'm going to win because I'm a shit ton of life points. Or I'm going to lose because, you know, I just lose neg 4. And it's very like, not skill based. Very taking advantage of stupid rules because they have stupid ass time rules because people used to take forever on 5 turns for overtime back in the day. And that's why that turned into that. Like people wouldn't get out to like 12 a.m. From like regionals, like a 10 round regional, something like that. People wouldn't get out to like forever. So like they had to do something. That was their idea. And then it turned into one thing and then that wasn't good. And then they turned to what it is currently. And it's just like, all right. But now because you have cards that can take advantage of time because the way they're built, they're just like terrible.
Yeah.
And so...
I don't know. And again, people will like be mad about security control and be like, that's a deck that you just want to win like in time, blah, 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 blah. Yu-Gi-Oh is a game where your first turn of the very game can take like 10 to 15 minutes. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
Like that is just how the game is at, with how combo it is, how like everything. It can take a long time. Like you can like, if you know your combos and everything, like you're really good and blah, 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 your opponent doesn't have responses to you, you can finish your turns like decent, like a couple minutes, you know. But it's not like Digimon where like, okay, I digivolve, I pass. Like your memory passes for you. You have no fucking control over it. Yu-Gi-Oh is a game where like, okay, I do this combo, I search this card, I sack this, I link, I climb, I Xyz, I do this, blah, blah, blah. And then your opponent responds in the middle. Special. Yep. Your opponent responds in the middle of you doing that and you would get Ash, right? So now you're like, okay, now I have to play around this Ash Blossom and now I have to go about this route of doing it. And then you're like, okay, now I have to play around Nibiru and blah, 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 blah. Like, there's...
But the problem with it, even like
so stupid.
Today's game, the top tier decks can play around 2-3 hand traps nowadays. You go like, you know, like for Snake Eyes, right? You go, all right, play Snake Eyes to Satch Pop, right? They go Ash. Oh, okay, cool. Deal Bellstar. Play Deal Star, trash card, grab something. Oh, I don't know. Imperv. Not Imperv. Yeah, Imperm. Okay, cool. I'll go Bonfire, still search my pop. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's just so crazy. I just stopped 2 plays with 2 hand traps, and you were able to still go, all right, bonfire, grab the pop effect, special summon, effective pop, grab your field spell, activates field spell, and you just continue doing the whole combo, right? And like, this is just how the game is. And it's like, if you're not a top tier deck that can't just play around 2-3 hand traps, like you ain't shit. And so like, that's where you're at. And that most, you know, competitive players are running that. And so it doesn't even matter where you're at. And then you add the new cards for the deck called Fiendsmith, and you just add more wombo combo like nonsense to it. And it's just like
insane.
How do you, like, you know, how's it okay to go second in this game? You can't go second. Even if you do board breakers, you can't do board breakers because you're going to get negated to death. If you go hand traps and you still get outplayed, damn, that sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not much you can do about that except have more hand traps. You better have that Nibiru to be ready for after all that, you know?
Yeah, dude. And then some cards even play around Nibiru, which is insane. Some cards can play through a nib, which is just nuts. But and then on top of all of that, reasons why it's just not the same. Remember how we were just talking about those combos you can do? You are just at the very core of Digimon, how the game is currently played. It's just impossible. You would never be able to do that in Digimon. First of all, we do not search our decks like Yu-Gi-Oh searches decks. That's just... We don't search our decks how Magic searches decks. We do not function like that at all. I mean, if we get to the point where I play a card that lets me fucking pick up my entire deck and grab a fucking level 4, level 5, or level 6, then like, yeah, I'll eat my fucking words. But we're just not there yet. You know, like, and I don't think we'll ever get there personally. I mean, I don't even know. That card would have to cost insane amounts of fucking memory to do that. And again, the memory gauge is so important here.
Yeah, I think if they would add like actual searching, they would have already done it at this point. Because they had searching immediately in Yu-Gi-Oh! So like, I just don't see Digimon searching in that type of way. I think we'll see maybe different types continue with the same type of searching we have, but maybe add like, I don't know, 3 cards for every 6 or something. Like I could see them doing something crazy like that or something. I don't know, but I just don't see it happening. So like, you will never have that consistency, that extra consistency that like Yu-Gi-Oh has with those type of cards. Even it's hard to say, obviously, because we still haven't seen. I think there's 2 things we haven't seen in Digimon yet that I think we will see is what they decide to do with Digivices. That's number 1. Because I used to joke where I'm like, yo, you could just Digivolve from your deck, right? With a Digivice or something, right? But like, that's considered like searching-ish. Like, I just don't think they would do that. If you go like, all right, let's say you have Greymon and you use red Digivice to Digivolve into a Metal Greymon from your deck. Would that just completely break a game? Break the game? They have cards like that? Yeah.
I think those decks just become so much better. Yeah.
Right. Would that like break the game? I have no idea. But like, would it be possible? Maybe. Would I think it'd be cool? Hell yeah. Because shit, I can make my Greymon deck a lot better with that, you know? Well, again, I don't know if that would ever happen. And then like some type of field spell. We haven't seen that yet in Digimon, so I'm curious to see what they'll do, because they could easily do so much with that. They could have like, you know, Fall City as a card, right? But like, you know, maybe draw 1 for every time you Digivolve or every time you raise or something, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. I don't know what they will do with that, if they do.
Yeah.
So those 2 things I would like to see what they do with them. And if it was Yu-Gi-Oh! S, that'd be maybe cool, depending on how far they go to it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then honestly, there's like, I also want to say, even though like I just talked about how insane Digimon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Is right now with, you know, you make this board, your opponent has to break it, breakers, negates, all that shit. It's actually a very skillful game. Most of the time, like I said, right now it's pretty luck based, but like it's a very high skill game. Like that is like,
it sure is.
Like, you have to be very good to play Yu-Gi-Oh!
You gotta like understand chains and how they work, how your interactions are gonna work with the chains and how they resolve or everything. Like, it's just a lot to it in today's game for sure.
And I'm not saying that Digimon is easy to play, but it is nowhere near the complexity of Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! is, in my opinion, Yu-Gi-Oh! is the hardest card game I've ever played, and I've played almost every card game there really is. Like, I've played a lot. Even if I've only tried something here or there for like a week, like I've played a lot, and I think everyone here has. Yu-Gi-Oh is fucking hard. I mean, it's just been around for a long time. There's a lot of complexities to it. There's a lot of having to understand what you should negate, when you should negate it, what you should hand trap, what you should respond to, like what you should make. Like, it's just crazy. It's a very complex game. And the other things to talk about is just the cost of decks. To be competitive in Yu-Gi-Oh, bro, and when I say this, tier 0 deck, like a tier 0 deck in Yu-Gi-Oh, that's a very real thing. And those are not cheap. I mean, those are fucking... I think Snake Eyes is cheaper now because it got pre-printed, and I think people are like waiting for the ban list. But that's like a $500-600 deck still, bro. Like that, and at its peak, that's $1,000 deck. Like these decks are not fucking cheap. Like, I understand that we have, like, you know, Magna X is an expensive card. I don't care that deck is not $500, right? Like I don't know. Like, it's just a very different game. I guess it could be 500 if you're playing fucking the Ruin modes and Death X's and 4 Magna X's and blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, you're getting up there in cost, but like, it's just different. You know, like Numamon, the best deck we have.
In my opinion, in Digimon right now, I don't know how we want to say what is considered expensive or not.
Yeah,
but in my opinion, there's only really like 5 cards that are expensive in Digimon. Yes, Dexmon, Ruin Mode, Magna X, Rapid X, and Rena. Those are probably the 5 most expensive cards. Like, I'm talking about like regular arts. Oh my god, I can't speak.
Cards that see competitive play. Yeah.
Right. No one cares about Mirai. No, I'm kidding. What's the regular SR?
$9. $9.
Oh, okay. $9.
Yeah.
But her secret is 40, like 40, 45.
Oh, is it 40? Okay.
Expensive, yeah.
So yeah. So all right, 6 cards. Those are probably the most expensive cards in the card game. Really, if we're talking about just regular arts. We're not talking about, you know, grabbing all arts. That's a different story. If you want to go max ready a deck and spend $500-600, go ahead. You do your thing, boo. You know what I'm saying? Like, go ahead, enjoy. You got your own money to spend. That's for you to do. But like regular arts wise, like, those are probably the most expensive cards, and the least, and it's from anywhere from like 40 to 80. I think the highest Ruin Mode maybe is still 70.
It's probably dropped, so it's probably like $60.
Right. Dexmon is probably
sitting at
50.
69. Nah, Dexmon's probably dropped as well to like 40.
No, Dexmon dropped a lot because of the reprints.
Because of the reprints, right?
Yeah, he's $40 right now, and the alt art is only
and Magna is 50-ish, right? 60-ish.
I think
Magna should be about 50.
On the money with that.
Yeah, 54.
Yeah, so like those are the most expensive cards in the card game, and like that's a-okay because I just named what 4 out of, I think actually all 6 were secret rares, right? Magna X secret, Dex secret, Ruin secret.
Yep.
I said Rena is a secret, Mirai is a secret, and then the 6th one was Rapid X. That was that's a secret. All those are secret rares. So that's actually not a bad thing to have for this card game, to have your secret rares to be your most expensive regular arts in the card game. Not at all. I think that's a fine thing for the card game to be, especially when a card like a Dexmon, you need a one of in every deck in current game. You need to have one of it. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts, in my opinion, for the way the game is right now. And if you're not willing to spend the $40, I mean, if you're not willing to spend the $40, that's, you know, I get it's a bit on the expensive side, but like if you really want to win in a regional setting, you should always consider that card in your deck for sure.
And one $40 card compared to the cost of even a tier 2 deck in Yu-Gi-Oh is like $200-300, dude.
Yeah, because if you remember,
100 to 3, I'll say 100 to 300. I know that's a crazy pay range, but that is like 100 to 300 for not the best deck in the game, just a deck that can compete and possibly top.
Yeah. Like, and remember, Baron de Fleur, like I want to compare Baron de Fleur to Dex kind of in that sense, where it was like it was one of those cards like you kind of just had to have the one of in every deck, because it's like if you were able to make it, why not make it type of thing? Like, why not have it? And so that was a card that was $100 at one point pre the reprint. It was $100 card that was a one of in almost any deck.
SP Little Knight.
And I'm pretty sure SP Little Knight was expensive as AF. Oh my god!
Because the reprint was announced in November, but it was like $100+ forever.
Yeah,
like,
and again, that's another card as a one of. That's you need the one of. You know what I'm saying? And that's how Dexmon is. You need that one of card that was like, all right, this is gonna be my bomb when I need it. It's gonna be a great card. It could be. It's really good security too because it's 15K. So you know you need to be really strong or have jamming. If you don't have those, it's gonna die. Like it does so much for you. That card, and $40 compared to 100, 120, that's a win to me for Digimon. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, for a staple type card.
Now, and I want to talk about a deck like Imperial, right? Which is I'd say tier 1 deck. I think we all agree here.
I think that's much as a given, right? Yeah.
So Imperial, let's take away the big elephant in the room, which is Pyogemon, which is a $20 card right now. That's what it's sitting at. You need 4 of it. That's expensive. That's 20, 40, 60, 80, right? So take that out. Where is the rest of the deck? Imperial Digimon Fighter Mode Ace, 50 cents each. Dragon Mode, fucking probably 20 cents each, 25 cents each. Cards pennies. I lied, it's 9 cents each. Okay? XVmon. What could XVmon cost? 20 cents.
Yeah, any of the XVmons, any of the Stigmons, they're all going to be super cheap.
What could Stigmon cost me? I don't know. Let's find out though. Like, you know, like 5 cents each. Okay. Now here's
probably the most expensive might be the Vmon promo.
The best card, arguably best or second best card in the deck, Davis and Ken. Okay. What could your entire engine of the deck, the card that is most important that you see in your opening hand, what could it cost? 55 cents. That's what that card costs. So besides, I understand that $80 could be a paywall to people, but you are maybe $100 in on an entire tier 1 deck in this game.
I hear basically 46 cards is about $20, and then the rest of it is the 4 Pyogemons.
Yeah, and to answer your question, Dan, you said the promo Vmon, that card dirt cheap now because it got reprinted so many times.
Yeah,
you could buy cool fancy alt arts of that card for $1. Like,
yeah,
you could actually buy Imperial maybe $110 with cool arts if you wanted. Like, you don't even have to play base rarity. You could get some cool arts if you want, you know, like I don't like the cost is not comparable, you know. I understand that some cards are expensive, but that's not bad. Like, it's kind of nice to have cards that are worth money. I mean, I even remember, like, you know, a Restodramon for Hunters and BT12, that super rare was a $10 card and people thought that was kind of expensive for the deck. Bro, that deck cost maybe $50 to have a tier 1 deck back then. Like, and that's almost a year ago now. No, a year ago exactly.
Yeah,
almost. Like, it's pretty close.
About, yeah,
maybe even a little bit longer than a year. So I don't think that
I think
the cost disparity is huge. I mean, Numamon is expensive if you're playing like top tier, like you are playing Death X Ruin mode. Valk Aces, blah, blah, blah. That can be on the more expensive end, but I think no more than $200 for the best deck in the game.
I think Digimon players are spoiled straight up.
I mean,
yeah, because it feels like they expect that since maybe until BT, let's say BT9, because that's when Dex dropped, right? They expected everything to be like $10 and cheaper or something when, you know, we're getting to the point where cards are just way more better, which means they're getting way more value, which means people are selling higher and inflation and all this other things. And they still expect them to be, you know, everything be $10 card, which that shouldn't be. Secret rare should not be cards where you're just like, oh, I'll just put this in my binder forever and just sit there because they're only $5.
Agreed.
That should never be the case in any card game, in my opinion. And Digimon, unfortunately, from onto Dexmon, maybe the secret rares are kind of like,
garbage,
right? like BTA was Paladin mode and Creepymon. That was probably the worst secret rare set ever, in my opinion. Besides, BT1 was pretty bad. Digimon was pretty bad. Metal Greymon was alright. Beelzemon was okay. Black Oak Greymon was meh. Who else? That was a secret rare back then. Oh, Imperiumon, the green version, trash.
Yeah, like, I mean,
we have a lot of secret rares that are bad, and that's why they never costed money. And then Dex drop with Oryuken mode. Oryuken were both really good secret rares. Dexmon was able to be played in every single deck because of how generic it is. And then you have Oryuken that was like, you know, the best secret rare, the boss monster for that deck, and it was just like, blow. And even that was like what? Yeah, 15-20 bucks wasn't even maybe?
That expensive, yeah. I mean,
Dexmon.
It depends what you define as expensive again, you know. But I don't think $15-20 for a card is expensive. I mean, it is expensive. You're playing for cardboard. I guess I don't want to like get classist or something and be like, you know, like blah 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 blah. Like $15 isn't expensive for me. It is expensive for a single piece of cardboard. But card games are inherently an expensive hobby, right?
Let's put it in perspective. Mike, you like cars.
Yes.
I like cars.
Yes.
I have a BMW.
Yeah.
If anybody who's listening to this podcast is also a car fan, I think I kind of just said it all in that sentence. You don't know what my BMW is? My BMW is sitting out in my backyard. You know why? Because prior to playing card games, my money went into cars. I spent so much money on cars because I wanted to. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. I spent money buying parts. I spent money buying shit for my garage. I bought a fucking car lift. Like, I spent mad ass money on cars. And instead of, you know, spending money on cars now, I spend money on cards. Mm-hmm.
He put a D in front of the car.
Yeah.
I put a D behind that R. So
yeah, absolutely.
Now my car budget has become my cards budget. My one hobby has become another hobby. And I think a lot of people get like tripped up on that. I think there's like a big negative connotation around games costing more because for some people, Digimon is a side game. You know, some people play Magic as their main, or what the fuck? I feel like Digimon players, like, what the fuck do you play Digimon as your side game for? I feel like it's only Magic, and because I feel like that's a very small subset of people. If they play Pokemon, they're probably not playing Digimon.
Yeah.
If they play Yu-Gi-Oh, they're definitely not playing Digimon as their side. Yu-Gi-Oh switches to Digimon full time.
I know a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players quit for Digimon.
Exactly.
I think a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players quit in general, and I'll touch on that after you're done talking too.
Yeah, I've seen more players quit a game to play a game, but for the players where Digimon is a secondary game, I don't mean to sound elitist, but I'm sorry, you probably like don't matter in like the grand scheme of things because you're probably not buying product. You're probably not buying as much. Like, it's not to say that your opinion isn't valid. Your opinion is totally valid because you play the game. But for the play, like you who are only playing the game and buying cards here and there, compared to somebody like even Mike, who may not play as much, but will go out and spend the X amount of money on Imperial.
Yeah, I spent some money.
Like, that's the type of stuff where it's like, well, no, first of all, like Mike, in a way, does have a problem with expensive cards. But at the same point, he's just like, I just won't buy it, you know? And like, it's not like it prevents him from playing the deck. Like, sure, Pyogemon's costing 20 a pop, so that's $80. Like, that can be an issue for some. And hey, listen, again, if money is an issue, like, first of all, you got to take care of yourself. we talked about this a few weeks ago, but if money's an issue, you take care of yourself first before you worry about a card game. If it's out of your budget, it's out of your budget. But also, if you're playing a card game because you enjoy it and it's your hobby, you budget. You put that money aside. I was talking with Cliff, I think it was like yesterday, and we were talking about something, and he was like, you didn't have enough, not towards me, but he was like, this person didn't have enough money. What do you mean you didn't have enough money? This is your budget. Like, he meant it because the person was like waiting on money to come in. He's like, no, you got to have a budget. And that's true. Like, that's just financials 101. That's not even just Digimon. You should have a budget. You should know that all right, in the month of, what are we in, August, I'm going to spend $150 on Digimon. You got to be smart about that. Because then you're like me and you just buy cards every week.
Yeah.
And then you have a fucking problem.
I have a perfect example. I think everyone that listens to this podcast knows how much I love Imperial. That's my favorite Digimon. It's my favorite deck. I fucking love it. I have a card budget for myself because if I didn't, I would frankly probably spend $2,500 a fucking every 2 weeks on cards or something stupid. But I have to set hard budgets because I don't want to, become ridiculous with everything. I recently just sold both my Imperial chases. I sold my fighter mode and I sold my dragon mode. Not because I was hurting for money, but because I was like, I would rather, I know that the dragon mode alt art is going to come out in a few months. Let me get rid of this chase. And I know that the fighter mode alt art is nice enough for me already. And frankly, I just like the art. It's hard to read the chase. I sold 2 cards from my favorite deck, 2 very expensive chase rare cards, and I was like, I can just use this money for other cards now. I can go buy different alt arts. I can go make a new deck. I can go, anything. When I sell cards, I always make sure that it goes back into my hobby. I don't just I'm not hurting for money, so I don't need to sell things off because whatever. But I don't just spend all this random money I have. I budget and then I also sell from within the hobby to keep my hobby going. I don't think it's unreasonable to do that either. And I think that if you're opening product, right, you're buying brand new product, are you really playing every single card that you get out of that box? No, you're not. You're going to put stuff in your binder and you're going to say that it's trade bait and then you're never actually going to trade anything. Go on Facebook and sell those cards. Make some money back and then use that money to buy cards you will use. That's what I've been doing the last few months. And I've made so much money and I've been able to buy so many cool fucking cards from it. Instead of just having shit sit in binders and not do anything, I was like, fuck it, let me downsize a lot of my shit. And downsize, bro, do you see this fucking collection of cards? It's not like I don't have cards. I don't know, just be smart with it. And also
being smart is such a big thing.
Yeah,
financially,
absolutely,
anything. Because gacha game players, I guarantee you, they don't have budgets. I played gacha games. I know what that means.
I had to budge myself for those things.
It was a big hole. You would just be like, oh, well, I'm just spending $6.99 here, and then I'm going to spend $3.99 here, and I'm going to spend another $4.99 here. And by the end of the fucking week, you're down $50. By the month, you racked up $150. Playing Pokemon Unite? Pokemon Unite isn't a gacha game, but I fucking spent $150 one month in Pokemon fucking Unite. It's any hobby, right? So I think even beyond the topic of, is Digimon becoming Yu-Gi-Oh because cards are expensive and whatnot? I think the bigger thing is, first of all, Mike said it, inflation is happening. I am making the same amount right now that I was making 16 months ago, not by choice. I asked about a raise and they told me the review period is coming up. So I just have to wait for my review period. But I didn't get a raise. I have a family of 4 to support. That includes myself. So I'm working on the same exact amount of money that I was making 1 year, 4 months ago. And so is my wife, because we didn't get raises. So
and
inflation
is where inflation moves at a 4.5% increase every year.
That's insane. That means that, yes, the cards are getting more. The MSRP Bandai, when Digimon first came out, MSRP was $3.99 a pack. It went up to $4.49, which doesn't sound like that much, but that's 50 cents a pack. By 24 packs, that's Dan, do the math. 50 cents times 24. 50 times 24.
I don't know. I don't feel like doing math.
$20. That's sure, $22 maybe. So that means the box that now costs $108 used to cost 80 something. That alone is a big change. And then factor in the fact that that's only the MSRP. That's not even what the going prices are. Of course, people get product at distro pricing, But then if you go on TCG Player and look, yeah, your box is costing 130. Does that mean we're Yu-Gi-Oh? No, that just means, first of all, inflation is happening. That's like, I think that's like number one, but also product availability as well as product demand. Like the game might be getting more popular. You know, people may have left, but there's also new people coming in. There are people who want more. Like there's so many other factors in this.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to also, I by the way, I don't know if inflation's at 4.5%. I just made that up. It changes every year. I know in 2022 it was like 8%. By the way. So like,
I would have fucking believed it if you hadn't said nothing.
Yeah, I have no fucking clue. I just didn't want anyone to yell at me in the comments. I made that number up. I think it's around 4% probably.
Mike heard, remember my comment way back when, yo, you got say things wrong, but say it with confidence. People believe it.
Yeah, I said that real confident. I think it's around 4% right now. I know like 2 years ago it was 8% though, so just keep that in mind. I wanted to touch on before, like, you know, closing thoughts or wrapping up, or if anyone else wanted to chime in, I wanted to say another huge reason Digimon is not like Yu-Gi-Oh right now. Prizing in Yu-Gi-Oh has been fucking god awful the last like few years. You get like a rubber playmat and like a shitty Xbox or like a PlayStation. I forget what they give out. Like it's like so embarrassing right now. Like I know that we've bitched about prizing of Digimon cards before. Like I've been like, dude, the prizing fucking sucks for Digimon. We probably get equal or better value from like Ultimate Cup. Well, in Ultimate Cups are definitely a better value, but we probably get equal or same value to Yu-Gi-Oh players for most events. And we are a much less popular game with much less funding. It's kind of insane. Like you gotta remember, like Yu-Gi-Oh events, like a YCS, but that's like a 2-day event. There's thousands of players. Like that is like those are huge events. And it's like to win a YCS and get like a fucking $400 game system and like a rubber mat is like so embarrassing. Like a lot of pro players like are just like, I will not play this game anymore because of how bad it is. Like, why would you do that? Like you go play Lorcana, One Piece, fucking Hearthstone, Magic. Like there's just like so many different games you can play with better prizing. So while Digimon is not like the best with prizing, don't get me wrong, we have bitched about it, and I guarantee you I will bitch about prizing again on this fucking game and on this podcast because it's just who I am. We are in a much better spot already. The second thing, just like how product comes to us, like we get inherently Bandai games is like weird. We get less product, I think, but you can go to any Walmart, Target, fucking CVS, Rite Aid, any fucking store ever, and you're gonna go buy Yu-Gi-Oh packs.
We can talk about this. I learned about this the other day. So Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic are regionally printed. So the United States has regional printers, South America, etc., whatnot and so forth. Pokemon, or I might have scuffed that, but I damn sure know Pokemon is regionally printed. Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic might be like a little bit different, but any Bandai game is printed in Japan. Every Bandai game is printed in Japan. Correct. Which, if you don't know, I feel like that should tell you, if you know anything about like Japanese business or anything, that should tell you everything you need to know about playing a Bandai card game. Like, that means that the same people who are printing the English cards are printing the Japanese cards. That is why Bandai can't just say, One Piece, for example, oh, we're gonna put more OP1 to print, because they just don't have the capacity for it, because they're printing Battle Spirits Saga, Battle Spirits, Dragon Ball Fusion World Japanese, Dragon Ball Fusion World English, Digimon Japanese, Digimon English, One Piece Japanese, One Piece English, Union Arena Japanese, Union Arena English. That's 10 card games. I don't even know what else. Those same printers might be printing regional products for Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic. There's also Duel Masters that's alive in Japan. Like, if Like that's so crazy to think about.
Them Japanese kids working overtime, man, at printing them cards.
That's the point I want to touch on. Like we have all these packs available to us. We have all these Magic products, and then don't get me wrong, even with like being able to go to a store and pick up all these things are still scalped for both those games. Prices can be insane on the secondary market still, especially like, I don't know, it's a good one. Sometimes Commander Precons, if like they make a really good Commander Precon, like those decks will be scalped to all hell sometimes. Like it's insane. But like regardless, we don't have that luxury of Digimon cards right now, unfortunately. And so when a card is really good and the product has been sold out, the price is going to be what the price is, which sucks a lot. But I don't think that it's like in some weird toxic way. It's just that that's the availability we have of the cards right now. Like in Yu-Gi-Oh, when a price is like really expensive for cards, it could be because it's short printed one, which is the stupidest thing in the fucking world.
Very much so a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes. It can just be that
on purpose.
It's like they're just very hard to pull cards. And Yu-Gi-Oh, a lot of times what they'll do is some of the best cards will be short printed or be at a very high rarity on release, so that it's very hard to pull the card inherently. Like it will be like a secret rare card and it'll be $120 and it's a fucking spell card that you need 3 of for whatever godforsaken reason. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. And then it will be that price for like 6 months to a year. And then it'll finally get reprinted and it'll drop like half. And then it'll get reprinted in another year and then it'll be $10.
And then it'll reprint, and then it's like, all right, why are we reprinting this card so many times at this point?
Yep. And if you look, I forget what I was watching. There's actually, I think there's a good video on YouTube, and it talks about how reprints in Yu-Gi-Oh don't actually lower the price the first time it's reprinted, which is an insane concept to think of.
Because usually in Yu-Gi-Oh, they reprint it at a similar rarity when they reprint it sometimes.
Yep.
So it's not like it's like they do a common of it. They'll do like an ultra rare and it's just like, or something like that. And then it's just like, oh, that's still hard to get. So it's still going to be priced highly hard.
And I know that we've been waiting a while in Digimon for some reprints. Trust me, in Yu-Gi-Oh, they wait a long time too. And you cannot be competitive in that game most times without playing those very expensive trap cards, those very expensive spell cards, those very expensive extra deck cards. Every once in a while, there are weird fringe rogue decks that do like well enough to get a couple top 32s, but you're not like winning tournaments with stuff like that. In Digimon, even in this like meta that people are kind of growing tired of right now, where Nume is the top deck and Magna X is like quote unquote gatekeeping other decks and blah, all these things, it's not like our top 16s are like really bad.
2 decks.
Yeah, our top 16s are like 7, 8, 9 different decks.
I just did a couple meta snapshots for regional ulti cups, and they were still very diverse. Like I get people were like, it's only Numa and Magna and Mirage and Imperial, but like I saw 16 decks, 16 for top 16. I saw 8 decks on there. Like that's not a bad thing to have. And you're gonna have your dominant decks. You're gonna have Numa being the biggest piece of the pie, which is okay. You're gonna have, and then everything else is gonna be a crapshoot. Yeah. Sometimes you'll see Imperial being the second. Sometimes you'll see, actually one of them, it was a store regional top 64. Imperial was like 6 out of 16 or something like that. It was something crazy. I was very surprised that it like dominated the amount of top 16s. Yeah, it didn't win though, but it was still dominant as the top 16, like in the most represented. And normally you have Numa, Imperial, or Magna, or even Mirage as that secondary, where it would be like 3 to 5 decks in it. And then like yellow vaccine armors as well, or even like 7 great demon lords. as another one that's been popping up more. Like, that's okay to have, where you have, you know, big pie and then everything else is small. The fact that those small decks can still make it in there, or like the least amount, like, you know, that you see it's up there as a one of maybe like, you know, Ragna, right? Ragna 1/1. You see Ragna kind of pop up every once in a while now still. You see Phoenix Mon popping up. You see Fish Swarm. I see Fish Swarm top now 2 or 3 events now. That's not bad at all for a deck that's been considered irrelevant for 99% of its life history. And now in the meta where people are saying it's the most toxic meta because of Numon and Magna, you getting tops out of it. That says a lot for that deck, and not how toxic this format is.
Absolutely.
You see decks, what are the decks is topping as well? Tyrant as well. You see so many variety of other decks still topping. It's not like it's just these 2-3 decks and that's it. You still see a variety. If you go to Yu-Gi-Oh, you're gonna see probably 3 decks in the top 16 basically. Currently right now. It's gonna be Snake Eyes, and Snake Eyes. Any version of that, and Yubel now.
Like and like
if you go in today's
like a gimmick puppet.
Yeah,
deck,
if you go into like today's meta for Yu-Gi-Oh right now, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like Snake Eyes, Yubel, because Yubel got you more crap with Fiendsmith, and Yubel's a really good deck. And then yeah, Gimmick Puppet got kind of good out of nowhere supposedly, and then Ritual Beast got good out of nowhere again. So like those are 4 decks, and you can't really name anything else because really Snake Eyes is probably the one that's gonna be 75% of that pie chart anyways. So like 75% is way worse than a top 16 of 5. You know what I'm saying? Of Numon being 5 and everything else is spread out. That's way worse, you know, than that. So like we're way too far. And I know another thing that's considered like a top topic is the ace cards and how strong ace cards has gone, right? Even with how strong our ace cards have gone, Powdermo's probably considered one of the strongest ace cards we get just on the raw strength of what it can do. Still doesn't compare to what hand traps do in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's not like you're ever negating anything. You don't negate in Digimon. You don't. Yeah. I mean, there's some pseudo random negates. Like if you're bouncing something that's on deletion in your bottom deck at the same time, that's a semi-negate kind of thing, but like you're just stopping the effect from happening, period. So it's not really like, I don't know, it's not really a negate. But anyways, you're not really, you know, saying, hey, you can't throw cards in your trash. You're not doing that. You're not, you know, playing Maxi and like every time you play a Digimon, I draw a card, or every time you Digivolve, I draw 2. You know what I'm saying? And that's not happening in Digimon.
We have decks that like do that one thing. Like Mirage says, if you draw, thank you, you know? Diaboromon kind of says, if you play a Digimon, you know, I get effects, but that's an entire deck based around doing that thing, you know? It's not like every deck is capable of doing that. Like,
but that's not even like hand trapping. It's not like you're saying like, it's not like exactly. For Diaboromon, right? It's not like you're saying, all right, you're about to play something. All right, I activate Diabor from my hand and I get to play 2 tokens and pop your shit. You know what I'm saying? That's not happening that way.
But it also it kind of does, but it requires you to have a lot of setup because you'd have to have Diaboro, EX6, and Ace on board. So that when you play that Digimon,
that's a whole
you trigger
combo. Like that's a whole setup.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But that's different. Like that's what I'm saying. That's different. You're not taking that from your hand. It's turn 0. Your opponent is doing that things, too. And you go, all right, Diaboromon, because you drop the Agumon to search. I play Diabor from my hand, activate effect, get 2 tokens, pop. You know, so I'm combining the effect or something. You know, something that would be some nonsense that Yu-Gi-Oh would have in that sense, right? You're not doing that per se. And Mirage is also, you have to be set up to get to that point too. And that's more of a floodgate. That's not really, it's not like it's out of nowhere. Bam, you're getting hand trapped out of nowhere. You're gaining a bunch of memory. It's not like you're saying, all right, I play a training to search, activate a Mirage from hand. I gain memory when you draw. You know what I'm saying? That's not happening like that. You know it's on board already. It's already there. It's a presence that you have to deal with. If you're not, you're effed, basically. The only similarities I would only consider is that like when you have the OTK turn for certain decks, that's the OTK turn. And sometimes that can happen turn 2. That's the only thing I could say. But like even then, that's still slower than Yu-Gi-Oh.
But it also does require setup, right? Like
right.
It does require like the God Hand, which happens, but that can happen in any card game.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Variance happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And like again, I don't want to hammer in the point for people that are like, oh, Digimon's getting too expensive. I said earlier, I said like Snake Eyes like $600. I forgot that Fiendsmith is out and playable. Like people were playing at the World qualifiers. Bro, Fiendsmith Engraver is $100 card that you need 3 of.
Correct.
Dia Bellstar,
for me, that's expensive.
Dia Bellstar,
yes.
I think is still a $40 card.
Correct.
Bro,
that's a 3 of.
Fiendsmith Snake Eye, which is probably the best deck in the game. That's a
probably it is.
That's a $950 deck, bro. That is a $950 deck.
That would be my definition of expensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a deck that you're gonna see probably at least 10 out of the top 16.
And then Fiendsmith Ubel, another good deck in the format. Again, plays Fiendsmith Engraver. That's an $800 deck. Gimmick Puppet, which is like a rogue deck. That's a $300 rogue deck, bro. Could you imagine? I don't know. What's a good rogue deck to compare that to? I don't know. But imagine playing a rogue deck in Digimon and it cost you $300. What else?
Hey, it's called Mastermon.
Or $200. It might be $200. It might be $200.
Tier 500.
It might be $200 for Gimmick Puppet. Let me correct it. It might be $200 for Gimmick Puppet. Either way, and then I don't know, like Tenpai Dragon. Bro, that's a
Arena All Force.
That's a $350 deck for Tenpai Dragon. Bro.
Much better.
Ritual Beast. That's a $250 deck. Do you see what I'm getting at here?
Yeah, see, those I would definitely qualify as expensive.
Tier Limits, which still people are playing somehow. That's still like a $170 deck. When you and here's the issue: people like look at a main deck, like, oh, the main deck's cheap, bro. You are not.
You need an extra and you need a side.
You need a side, bro. Those are expensive decks because of that. Like if the main deck is cheap, all right. Like you're like, oh, the main deck's cheap, I can get away with that. No, you can't.
How much is that?
Not when you're playing in a tournament.
How much is that Baron de Fleur?
Yeah.
When I was playing that, because that was that fucking $100 for Baron and another $100 for DP. Well, DP wasn't a side deck card, but it was a one of. So
yeah, and like
fucking $200 in 2 cards. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, bro. Like you don't like in Digimon, like you can get away with playing Numemon without a Death X and a Ruin mode. You know, you have other options. You might not be able to top 16 or something with that, or like win an event without a Death X or Ruin mode. You can do very well. I mean,
well, we see it happen,
and you can exactly, and you can. Like you are not.
Listen,
you are not getting a top in Yu-Gi-Oh without playing those cards.
Put all that aside. If people are out here topping with, you know, Fish Swarm, Ragna, or being Burrito with Beelzemon, like we can stop the Yu-Gi-Oh Digimon comparisons, because in 3 different ways, this game is not only not Yu-Gi-Oh, it is not becoming Yu-Gi-Oh, and it is not like Yu-Gi-Oh.
And again, this game's still early on. And in 5 years, 10 years, maybe this game...
The game might be dead.
It could be dead. But if it keeps going, maybe it does become more expensive. Maybe things change. Maybe the decks get power crept, blah, blah, blah. Currently, the game is just not comparable, in my opinion. I mean, I can literally keep going with decks that I know are being played that are hundreds of dollars. Branded Despia, that's a $300 deck.
Yeah.
Fucking Runic Stun, that's I don't know how I didn't say Runic Stun. That's like a $150 deck probably. Like, and Runic, that's Sword Soul Tenni. That's a cheaper deck. It's $150.
It used to be expensive though.
It's $150. Fucking, I don't know. Even like weird decks like Drytrons, that's like a $300 deck now probably because of
and for
if you want to build heroes are still expensive.
Heroes
and that's super rogue.
I own like almost a max rarity heroes deck. That's just like $350, $400. That's an expensive deck. Like Sky Striker, which is a deck that a lot of people will tell beginners to play. That's like a $200 deck, probably $230 deck. Could you imagine telling a beginner in Digimon to go play a $200 deck?
Bro, I remember back in the day rebuilding Black Wings around when we got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Like in Northampton. Bro, I spent at least $1.20 for it.
Mm-hmm.
And like at first I was doing the math. I was like, oh, this ain't too bad. But like I didn't add up, you know, everything like at the end, like because I would buy cards here, there, whatever. And then like when I came up to it, I was like, oh, I spent, you know, at least $100. And then I kept updating, you know, extra deck because extra deck got better. And it was like, oh, here's another $20, here's another $40, here's another $50, you know what I'm saying? Ended up being, you know, probably closer to $200 a deck at the end of the day, you know? It was just how it is compared to Digimon. Digimon, I haven't spent outside, unless I'm max rarity and getting all arts for a deck, which I do for my specific favorite decks. I don't do that for all decks, I just do it for the favorite ones. That's the only time I'm spending more than $120. Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah, and again, like, I understand, like, dude, we are in like tough times. I mean, the fucking stock market just crashed, right? Like it's not cheap to even afford groceries.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's not cheap to even afford groceries. Exactly. So like, I like totally understand. Like, man, cards are expensive. Like, it is kind of hard to like have hobbies when maybe you have to spend $80 for some super rares for your Imperial deck. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I hope that no one takes offense to that. Like, me saying that, like, you know, these are cheaper cards compared to Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, they are, but it's still expensive money. You know, like, it's still money you're not paying for groceries. It's still money you're not putting gas in your car. But the thing that we want to just tell you guys is you shouldn't be having to choose between, you know, putting gas in your car or playing a card game with your friends. If those cards are expensive,
absolutely
to you,
not.
You know,
if you're playing with your friends, just tell them, "Hey, I'm gonna proxy these cards."
That's exactly what I was gonna say. If you
like, unless you're playing competitively, like unless your locals are like super fucking try hard. Like, I all right, bro. Any of you could come to me and say, "Hey, can I play in TBL this week? I don't have $10, but I'll get to you next week." Or I don't have the cards. Can I proxy them? And I'll look at you and I'll say, all right, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Make sure it's legible. Make sure you give me the money next week. Like,
we've held proxy tournaments, you know, like
we do it 2 weeks before 1 to 2 weeks before like every format and on the week of release to make sure that people can get their stuff because we get it. And I've still had people come like after and say, hey, my cards didn't come in time. Can I proxy? Okay. I'm going to sit here and be a fucking asshole about it. Like, no, like, I get it, bro.
Yeah.
And like, on that point, like, the last thing that like I want to talk about is like the price of cards. Also, it's a double-edged sword. Like, nobody likes a $20 Pyojimon. I'm not going to say that's expensive. I think that's fine. I think it's fine that we have some cards like that. Over time, I do want to see that drop. I don't want to see that stay 20 forever. The same way, you know, cool, I'd like Magna X to drop. Right. The same way Magna X, in my opinion, should be maybe like a $40 card, and Rapid should be 25-ish, if so much. But like, at the same time, if you're a person who's buying sealed, like, you have to factor in what I realized getting into Grand Archive is there's a thing called EV. And if you don't know what EV is, it's called expected value. How much value do you expect to get out of a box or a case? Basically, how much value do you expect to get out of sealed product? I bought a case of set 1 of Grand Archive simply because I knew the EV would be better than me just buying the cards outright. I pulled enough cards that I got back my value in buying that case, so it didn't feel like a neg. And you have to consider that in today's day and age. Like, I know a lot of people may get hung up on like, I miss the trading aspect of card games. You know, everybody's all focused on money. You have to be when the cards cost as much as they fucking do. I'm sure back in the 1990s, nobody was paying $600, $900 for a fucking case of Pokemon. Bro, that shit might have been like...
We were using dual lands as coasters back then. I mean, I wasn't around during like when Magic first... I wasn't born when Magic first came out, but like my dad owned a card shop in the 90s. And like, yeah, bro, like that was no joke. Like,
you probably... I don't know how much, but packs were probably like $2.
I want you to know that when card games first came out, we didn't have things like card sleeves.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know why there's so few? Like, I'm sure everyone that plays card games knows what a Black Lotus is for Magic. It's like the most expensive fucking trading card ever printed.
It's the Charizard
the reason
for Magic.
that there are so few good condition alpha, beta, unlimited, whatever cards is because card sleeves didn't exist, bro. Mats didn't exist, bro. You were playing on fucking tables with your friends, sliding your
shuffling,
dude. Sliding the ball back of your card across the table, bro. No, like you were insane. I mean, like crazy. Like you can literally like look at like what old Magic players' cards used to look. They look fucking awful. Like,
oh, I'm sure.
So nuts, bro. But yeah,
my first Yu-Gi-Oh deck, which I still have, by the way, is like if I take it out, I think they're sleeve now, but like if I take them out, all edges are all like effed up, everything's messed up. Like,
yeah, so like EV is a big thing, and you want to buy things like, especially I don't mind. Let me put it this way. I don't mind playing card games because I know that if the game dies tomorrow, I had fun. It sucks that I know that I have so much value in cards that I'm like, damn, like I could have cashed out on that. But realistically, I would have sold these cards a long time ago if I was worried about that.
I also want to put a disclaimer. If you are buying sealed product and not singles, that you are gambling. Do you straight up, you are gambling.
Exactly.
If you have,
it's a loot box.
Yeah. If you have, I don't know, and sometimes boxes can get more expensive a lot these days, right? So let's say you buy a box for $100, right? You just spent $100 to gamble. You have to realize that. You just took your $100 and went to the casino, essentially. You have zero guarantee of you pulling anything of value. You could have a fucking absolute trash dud box. Me personally, I know that that's exactly what's going to happen every time I spend $100 in a box. I know. I buy my singles. Do I miss out on like the fun of cracking packs? Yeah, I do. It sucks. But I would much rather, I work hard for my money, and I'm sure everyone that listens to this podcast works hard for their money too. Like, I would just personally rather take that $100 and just buy singles. You know, like I can't justify opening packs. Even fucking like you're
not playing all of those decks like Mike said.
Yeah.
There is no shot that unless you're like me, where you're like somehow going to magically find time to play every EX7 deck, which I already know isn't going to happen, but I say I'm going to do it regardless. You're not playing all of those decks.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was a point where even I was building every single deck in the game. I don't know why, but I was. But I was still buying singles because it was still that much cheaper. Like, I think obviously you have to buy products because you have to open product for people to get singles. And there are going to be people that love to do that and then love to resell cards. You know, that's what people like to do.
And you don't need to be one of those
exactly.
Trust me, there's more than enough of us that are going to crack product. And that's like that's the circle of life that I was going to get to. Like, the price of product is expensive. Like, sure, like $125 a box, that's nothing to scoff at, but there's more than enough product out there for you to just say, fuck it, I'm not buying a box. I'm just going to go buy these singles. Like, you wanting to go find 2 boxes isn't going to make these card prices drop. It's just going to make you get that dopamine hit when you pull that card and you're like, damn, I didn't have to spend the money. No, but you just spent $170 on 2 boxes. Sorry. I've come to the realization that not everybody is as lucky as we are. You spent fucking $200, $250 on 2 boxes. And for what?
Nothing.
To sit there and say, fuck me? Like, don't do it, Chiefs.
Not worth it.
It ain't worth it.
And if you want to play an expensive deck, like,
it's still going to be cheaper to buy cards.
It's still way cheaper to buy cards, but you don't have to buy all the cards at once. And I don't think people realize that. When I play Magic again, because I'm stupid, Magic is expensive. Very expensive. But I'm not like, okay, I want to spend $800 from my paycheck right now. Like, I'm like, all right, let's see if I can buy these few cards this week. And then in 2 weeks, I'll buy these few cards. And then in another 2 weeks, I'll buy these few cards. And then in 3-4 months, I have a deck. And it's an expensive deck, but it's not like I spent $800 on it all at once. It's like saving for a car. I'm basically saving to buy decks at this point. And that's easier done in Magic because Magic has longer eternal formats, they're called. Digimon has an eternal format, but the decks rotate basically, you know. So but also decks aren't $800 in Digimon, so you should have no problem building a deck by the time.
Especially if you're not buying max rarity. Like I think that's the biggest thing. Like the cards we're talking about on top of all that, like the most expensive regular art card Dan pointed out earlier is the Magna X. And I'll be honest, like, why are you buying Magna X if you're not playing competitively? Like, you're probably not going to enjoy that deck in a casual setting more because everybody might hate you for playing it. Like, yeah. I've literally heard people complain about having to play against Magna X. So like, why buy it if like you're going, like if you're going to enjoy it, you know, power to you, but like that's like a, you know, top tier competitive card. But like the most expensive, I don't know, non-meta card, if you're just playing a deck that you enjoy, like if you really enjoy Magna, you're spending $200 on a playset of Magna X, and then everything else is cheap AF. Yeah, everything else is cheap AF. If you're playing Imperial, you're spending your money on the Pyotramons. If you're playing Bunnies, you're probably spending $120 on Rapid X's. And if for some reason you decide you want to play Mastamon, then you're spending some amount of money on a Mastamon deck. But like that's it. Everything else is like, and when I say cheap, I really do mean like it's $100 probably, 150 max. Say yourself, I'm gonna set aside like 30, $50 every paycheck. Boom. You got your deck in like a month's time. And if you're playing competitively, that's a different story, you know? Like but that's an entirely different mindset to have.
And also, if you are trying to source cards like that, don't buy off TCG Player.
Absolutely not.
TCG Player is so great for me when I just want to pick up a bunch of fucking cards.
When you're trying not to deal with dickheads on Facebook.
But if you are like seriously like you're like, oh, like it's kind of hard for me to have money. It's kind of hard for me to spend money right now, but I still want to put some money away and I still want to play this card game. Join one of the Facebook marketplace groups. I would join.
There's like 6, I think.
Yeah, there's 5. A couple.
There's at least 4. I think there's 5.
Buy your cards for 85% of TCG Player, and you don't have to. Usually if you buy expensive cards like that, you're not paying the shipping, so you're just getting cards for 85% of TCG Player without paying shipping. Like
I will tell you guys right now, I list cards all the time, and I try to give everybody a deal that includes shipping and the fees.
Yep.
It's why it's funny when like people, I had this guy hit me up the other day. If he's listening, it is what it is. He was like, these cards, I went and I priced them out, and then I told him my price, and then he hit me back and he was like, here are these cards. And I was like, I don't know where you're getting those prices from, because I just added those same cards to my cart and this is what it came out to. I'm not trying to be a dickhead. I'm just telling you, this is what you're getting it at on TCG. This is what my price is. And he said, well, I bought them on TCG. And I was like, okay, all the power to you. But like, I like to think I give deals like all the time to people, shipping and fees. I have too much fucking cards over there to not do that shit. I don't need any of those fucking cards, but I have them because fuck me, I guess. Join our Discord. Discord.dgu.gg. Join the other Discord groups that there's the main DCG 2020. There's GFG's Discord. There's Mario's, Huang Zero's. There's the ones for all the TOs, Play TCG, Core TCG, PPG, whatever else. They all have like buy, sell, trade channels. There are so many other avenues to get cards and to try to get them at least some sort of a discount. And there are people like me who are just like, yo, take this shit and, take 20% off or something like that. Like, you can definitely get those cards cheaper. TCG, it's such a travesty because so many people think TCG is the live by, die by. And it kind of is, not because, it is. It's just because it's the only thing that we have, the only pricing guide we have. So,
yeah,
it is what it is. Anyways, we're 213 into it, so yeah.
Yeah, I can keep talking. I do like, I guess, ending message. I don't think that Yu-Gi-Oh and Digimon are similar in any way at all, really, besides the fact that they're both card games and they're both made from Japan, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, like we really need to stop with those comparisons because we're so past that.
Please do not think that you have to spend hundreds of dollars to play Digimon. You don't. If you're playing competitively, it's a different story. Like if you have to
It
go to
really is. And that's a topic we'll have another day.
Yeah, if you have to go to a tournament and spend $100, like that's different completely. But at that point, you have to remember that you're playing at the top of the top. Like, bro, like
it costs to compete. You think you can pick up a race car?
Bro,
you think you can pick up a race car and go compete in F1 or F3? Grassroots racing is expensive, bro.
Yeah.
I looked into it. I should know. That's why I play card games.
You know that even kids sports is expensive. Like if you're competing, like any of that shit. Like if you're doing anything that's not recreationally or casually, it's gonna be expensive, I think. So there's a paywall, which is unfortunate because I feel bad for a lot of people that can't afford it, especially in these tough times. But like Varney said, proxy the cards and play with your friends. It's not like you don't
need to play this game competitively.
Yeah, if they're really your friends, they're not gonna care. That's all I gotta say.
Also, if they're really your friends, they're not going to fuck you on the pricing of cards. I'm just throwing that out there.
Absolutely.
This came up the other day, and I was like, I'm not going to touch on it too much, but I give my boys here a nice discount because I feel wrong for charging them in the first place, but I know it's money. It's how we work. It's how we operate. So I try to give them the best deal possible. Try to make them feel like it's an actual, like, we're friends, not like, nice to meet you. I'm Yo Barney. 15% off TCG player. Like, I got, just throwing that out there. If your friends are like, if I don't want to talk about that. Let's leave that for another day if we talk about that. Anyways, that is it for today's episode of DigiPod, the digital podcast. And so until we talk to you guys the next time, peace out.
Peace.
Catch you on the next one.